Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we will be studying a very important chapter, the Deliverance of Chand Kazi, a very graphic pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in which we can learn many lessons. So it's a long story, so we have to cover at least 106 verses. So let's begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it's a very important chapter, section of this chapter, which is the Deliverance of Chand Kazi. We actually did a drama on this on Gaur Purnima Day, just a few days ago on the 25th. So, text 121, it goes all the way to text 226, 106 verses to cover. Nagariya loke prabhu jobe agnya dila, ghare ghare sankirtana korite lagila. The Lord ordered all the citizens of Navadvip to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and in each and every home they began performing Sankirtan regularly. So this was the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haraye Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Gopala Govinda Rama Shri Madhusudana. This lines have been how to say, eternalized by the song of Narottam Das Thakur. Hari Haraye Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana. So actually the first line of the first and second stanzas, first line of the first stanza, first line of the second stanza, together were chanted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. So all the devotees sang this popular song along with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. So this was the original Sankirtan that was going on when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started. Hare Krishna Mahamantra and this one. This is at the inauguration of the Sankirtan movement. These were sung by the devotees. Mridanga Karatala Sankirtana Mahadhvani Hari Hari Dhvani Vina Anya Nahi Shuni. When the Sankirtan movement thus started, no one in Navadvip could hear any sound other than the words Hari Hari and the beating of the mridanga and clashing of handbells. Purport. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness now has its world center in Navadvip, Mayapur. The managers of the center should see that 24 hours a day there is chanting of the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with the addition of Hare Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. for this song was a favorite of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. But all such Sankirtan must be preceded by the chanting of the holy names of the five tattvas, Panchatattva. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. We are already accustomed to chant these two mantras, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, and Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Now, after these, the other two lines, namely Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudana, should be added, especially in Mayapur. Chanting of these 6 lines should go on so perfectly well that no one there hears any vibration other than the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. That will make the center spiritually all perfect. You know, nowadays, the Kirtaniyas of ISKCON, they're introducing all kinds of, some mantras here and there. Somewhere they will find out some exotic mantra and insert into the kirtan. Well, either we sing the Vaishnava bhajan or the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or Vaishnava bhajan followed by Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But in general kirtan, it is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So unnecessarily adding so many things is actually sahajiya. Then there's an article by Bhaktivinoda Thakur on how to perform kirtan, and he mentioned a style of kirtan called Manohar Shahi. Manohar Shahi kirtan style means each line of the song, like Vaishnava bhajans, the Vaishnava acharyas have written so many songs. So each line, if we repeat 2 or 3 times, at least 2 times, then eventually people will meditate on the lyrics. Of course, you need to understand the language, the word to word meaning. That's why we must put some effort in understanding that. And when we do that and then chant it at least twice, then we are forced to remember, and it will create an imprint in the mind about the instruction that is there in that line. So this is called the Manohar Shahi style of kirtan. It is very simple. It is not very complicated and adding so many things. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was against that. So just the basic Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Vaishnava Bhajan. Nothing else. No additions need to be done. He said, moreover, that Sahajiyas, they do this kind of things. And it will minimize the importance of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and minimize the importance of because if you just pluck out one line from somewhere and just insert it in a kirtan, and when nobody understands it as well, then it creates only some entertainment but not real kirtan, which is glorification of the Lord. So we should be very careful in this. শুনিয়া যে ক্রুদ্ধ হইল সকল জবন, কাজী পাশে আসি সবে কইল নিবেদন. Hearing the resounding vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra, the local Muslims, greatly angry, submitted a complaint to the Kazi. So this was the time, medieval India, Muslims were reigning supreme, not supreme, but they invaded a lot of parts of India, and even after this, it went on until the time of almost 1800, 1700. Yeah, 1700 still was going on. Aurangzeb, 1669, he started his demolishing of the temples in erstwhile India, which is now Pakistan, and India. So they destroyed a lot of temples, and they imposed a jizya tax that was done by Aurangzeb. But during this time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that jizya tax was not there, but they were heavily persecuted. Hindus were, of course, they were, how to say, they lived alongside the Muslims, but the Muslims always oppressed the Hindus. That is that. They demolished so many temples and so many things they did. So the government here was Muslim. The local Muslims, greatly angry, submitted a complaint to the Kazi. Kazi is the magistrate. Okay. Purport. Now here you will see some words: jamidaras, Bhaujadara. Actually, this is not how it is pronounced. The Fauzdara or city magistrate was called the, here it says Kaji. Actually, it's Kazi. The not it is Jamidaras, the Zamindars. This is the actual word. So, our landholders, Mandaleras, levied taxes on the land. So, there will be many Urdu words or Persian or Parsi words that will be used here. Uh, with Roman transliteration, but we must know how to actually pronounce them, because it is not exactly pronounced the way you see it. So the Fauzdara or city magistrate was called the Kazi. The zamindars or landholders, mandaliras, levied taxes on the land, but keeping law and order and punishing criminals was the duty entrusted to the Kazi. Both the Kazi and the landholders were under the control of the governor of Bengal, which at that time was known as Suba Bangala. The districts of Nadia, Islampur, and Bagoyan were all under the zamindar named Hari Hoda or his descendant known as Hoda Krishnadas. It is said that Chand Kazi was the spiritual master of Nawab Hussain Shah. According to one opinion, his name was Maulana Sirajuddin. So this Chand Kazi's name is Maulana Sirajuddin. And according to another, his name was Habibur Rahman. So descendants of Chand Kazi are still living in the vicinity of Mayapur. People still go to see the tomb of Chand Kazi, which is underneath a champaka tree and is known as Chand Kazi's Samadhi. So you can actually go and see this as well. क्रोधे संध्या काले काजी एक घरे आयल मृदंग भांगिया लोके कहिते लागिल. Chand Kazi angrily came to one home in the evening, and when he saw Kirtan going on, he broke a mridanga and spoke as follows. एट काल को केहो नाही कोइलो हिंदू जानी ए बीजे उद्यम चालाओ कारो बोलो जानी. For so long you did not follow the regulative principles of the Hindu religion, but now you are following them with great enthusiasm. May I know by whose strength you are doing so? Purport. It appears that from the aggression of Bakhtiyar Khilji in Bengal until the time of Chand Kazi, Hindus or the followers of the Vedic principles were greatly suppressed. Okay, so I did a search because we were doing a drama on this for Gaura Purnima. So I just did a search. Who is this Bakhtiyar Khilji? Actually, he is the one who burnt the Takshashila University. Sorry, Takshashila is in Pakistan. Nalanda University. Oh, which one? I think Nalanda is in Pakistan. No, Nalanda University. Yes, which is in somewhere in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, around that area. So this Nalanda University was burnt by him, and that university had it burnt for many months continuously. That many books were burnt. Just imagine how much knowledge was lost by this Bakhtiyar Khilji. And Bakhtiyar Khilji existed. He invaded India and did most of his conquests in around 1193 AD. That's what I read. 1193 AD, around that time. So it is 12th century. Mind you, this Chand Kazi, this episode is 16th century, early 16th century, 1500 something. So 12th century, 1193, almost 1200 to 1500 something. So it is a good 300 years of oppression by the Muslims, and it was even continued after that. At this time, it was already 300 years of oppression. Imagine, I mean, timelines. If you calculate 300 years back from here to 2024, it will be 1724. British haven't even firmly established their footing in India. I mean, they came as a trading company and all that. They were expanding, but as a kingdom, as a power, as a colonizer, not yet at that time. 300 years back. And you see how much change has happened in this 300 years. So for that long, these people were suppressed. So Bakhtiyar Khilji, he was in Bengal as well. Until the time of Chand Kazi, Hindus were greatly suppressed. Now, we don't see this side of history in our history textbooks. When I studied history in school, all these things, yeah, some Khilji came and did some things. It was not explained like as if it was a you know a great oppression and a complete um, trying to erase the culture completely by demolishing 40,000 over temples and killing, slaughtering Brahmanas, women, children. Um, the untold atrocities that were done by the Mughals when they invaded India is not told as gruesome as it actually is. I mean, it was just told, oh, he invaded India and he just conquered something, as if it was a fair fight in a war or something. They employed the worst tactics. I mean, not even tactics. They're barbarians. They were barbarians. That's all they were. Yeah. That's how Islam was introduced in India. And moreover, the Brahmanas, now it is easy for Hindus to go and now complain against Muslims, oh, you did this, did that. Okay, now there is an influence of Kali Yuga. But actually, if we see, Prabhupada explains in other places, why so many Hindus converted to Muslims in India? Because the Hindus were treated badly by the Brahmin class. That also was there, very, very prominently. The Brahmins used to treat the Shudras and other low class people very badly. Instead of helping them and raising them to the standards of Vedic culture, they just, you know, was so puffed up by the position and they discriminated heavily against these people. And the Muslim came and said, "Oh, you join our religion, we will treat you as bhai bhai, and you will get so many benefits." This and that. And then the people converted. Yeah, yeah, I know. There we are being treated like dogs. Here we are treated like brothers. So like that, so many people were converted, and very easy to convert. Just sprinkle some water and will be converted to Muslim. Like, they used to do like that. And if a Muslim like sprinkle some water and say something, and the Hindus will never accept that Hindu back in their community. Oh, you are fallen. So it was easier for Muslims to do so. For them, oh, no resistance. Hindus themselves are giving up on them. Okay, okay, we will accept. We will increase the numbers. So in this way, it all happened. This is the history. Now, we are not against any religion per se. In fact, we understand that Hindu, Muslim, Christianity, Judaism, all these things, or Buddhism, Jainism, all these things are bodily identification. Real dharma is to love God. And that may be in any language or any nomenclature, but it is the same concept. Whether in rudimentary form or much more detailed form or whatever it is. Dharma is actually one. That is to understand God and to love Him. Every religion teaches the same thing. Of course, the followers in due course they will distort many things that will happen in every religion, including our Sanatana Dharma. So nobody is exception to that, and especially so in Kali Yuga. But these were the facts that happened medieval India, and there is no point hiding them. Oh, if we bring them out, there will be some riot. No, that's not going to what is going to happen. This is what happened, and we are not putting that same thing on the Muslims of today. There may be some elements of those, but we're not, you know, generalizing these things. But this is what happened at the time. Okay, we don't need to erase or whitewash the history. We can be honest about it. Okay, so like the Hindus in present day Pakistan, practically no one could execute the Hindu religious principles freely. That is an important thing. Hindus in Pakistan today operates like anything. I mean, just 2 years ago there was a big, Muslim. There was a video of these Muslims. They were, um, breaking the deities, breaking the temple, and everything. They did that. So this was common scene previously. That This many years ago, 100 years ago, this was happening. No one could execute the Hindu religious principles free. So because these Brahmanas also treated them like that, then karma came and then erased. But it's not that only they have to be. Everybody is to be blamed there. Um, Nobody gets. If the Brahmins were actually holding the whole society nicely with nice education, with compassion, with a big brother mentality, then it would have been much different. But the Brahmins paved the way for for this to happen. So-called Brahmins. I mean, they're not Brahmins actually. They claim to be Brahmins. Okay, so like Hindus in present day Pakistan, practically no one could execute the Hindu religious principles freely. Chand Kazi referred to this condition of Hindu society. So he's saying, "Oh, you have not been doing anything for hundreds of years, as far as I can know. But now, why you are becoming enthusiastic? Why are you becoming so, you know, fired up?" So formerly, the Hindus had not been straightforward in executing their Hindu principles because of oppression, but now they were freely chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, it must have been by the strength of someone else that they were so daring. Actually, this was the fact. Although the members of the so called Hindu society had followed the social customs and formulas, they had practically forgotten to execute their religious principles strictly. But with the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they actually began following the regulative principles according to his order. That order is still existing, and anywhere and everywhere in all parts of the world one can execute it. That order is to become a spiritual master under the direction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by following the regulative principles, chanting daily at least 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness all over the world. If we stick to the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we shall get spiritual strength without a doubt, and we shall be free to preach this cult of the Hare Krishna movement and not be hampered by anyone. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy will be there if you execute his order. কেহ কীর্তন না করিহ সকল নগরে আজি আজি আমি ক্ষমা করি যেতেছ ঘরে. No one should perform Sankirtan on the streets of the city. Today I am excusing the offense and returning home. Purport. Such orders stopping Sankirtan in the streets of the world's great cities have been imposed upon the members of the Hare Krishna movement. So he's referring to this in the 70s, especially he will mention Melbourne. So they were arrested and all that. In many other parts of the Europe also they were arrested. And then after that they were released, within a day or something like that. Because they knew that these people are not really troublemakers. Such orders stopping Sankirtan in the streets of the world's great cities have been imposed upon members of the Hare Krishna movement. We have hundreds of centers all over the world, and we have been specifically persecuted in Australia. In most cities of the Western world, we have been arrested many times by the police, but we are nevertheless executing the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting on the streets of all the important cities such as New York, London, Chicago, Sydney, Melbourne, Paris, and Hamburg. We must remember that such incidents took place in the past 500 years ago, and the fact that they are still going on indicates that our Sankirtan movement is really authorized. For if Sankirtan were an insignificant material affair, demons would not object to it. So, this is an attitude that we should carry in our Krishna consciousness. Not that, of course, we flout any rules or what, but we should boldly preach. There's nothing, as long as we don't create disturbance in the public, we should be able to preach. So we should do that. Even there are sometimes difficulties. They should not be stopped because any difficulty. See, if this has been a history. Prahlad Maharaj was tortured. Haridas Thakur was tortured. Every devotee is always persecuted by the demons. So this is part and parcel of preaching. Titikshavaha Karunika, tolerant and yet merciful. The demons of the time tried to obstruct the Sankirtan movement started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similar demons are trying to obstruct the Sankirtan movement we are executing all over the world, and this proves that our Sankirtan movement is still pure and genuine, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is a very encouraging statement by Srila Prabhupada that we should never back down under pressure, and we should push on this movement, despite sometimes even the governments may be unreasonable in their attack on the Sankirtan movement. আর যদি কীর্তন করিতে আর যদি কীর্তন করিতে লাগ পায়মু সর্বস্ব দণ্ডিয়া তার Jati Jelaimo. The next time I see someone performing such Sankirtan, I shall certainly chastise him by not only confiscating all his property, but also converting him into a Muslim. You see? Purport. To convert a Hindu into a Muslim was an easy affair in those days. If a Muslim simply sprinkled water on the body of a Hindu, it was supposed that the Hindu had already become a Muslim. During the transition of the British in Bangladesh, during the last Hindu Muslim riots, many Hindus were converted into Muslims by having cow's flesh forcibly pushed into their mouths. You see, Hindu society was so rigid at the time of Lord Chaitanya that if a Hindu were converted into a Muslim, there was no chance of his being reformed. In this way, the Muslim population in India increased. None of the Muslims came from outside. Social customs somehow or other forced Hindus to become Muslims with no chance of returning to Hindu society. Emperor Aurangzeb also inaugurated a tax that Hindus had to pay. This is called the jizya tax. Jizya tax. Um, Aurangzeb also inaugurated a tax that Hindus had to pay because of their being Hindus. Thus, all the poor Hindus of the lower class voluntarily became Muslims to avoid the tax. In this way, the Muslim population in India increased. Chand Kazi threatened to convert the people into Muslims by the simple process of sprinkling water on their bodies. So we get an idea of what was happening at the time in medieval India. We get a glimpse. I mean, these are not taught in our history textbooks, but here we understand how these things happened. Blame was on both sides because Muslims were, of course, um, what is the word? They were attacking and demolishing all the temples and disturbing the whole peace of the land. And the Hindus also were so rigid and unforgiving, and they have lost the plot. Actually, the Hindus completely lost the plot because they lost the whole purpose of Vedic civilization or Sanatana Dharma, which is to actually purify everyone. In fact, if anybody, even the most fallen person, if he takes to the Harinam, he will be elevated. There's so many shlokas that show this. But these people, they just rigid. They don't want to accept. So what happened? Everybody converted. And now the descendants, after that, they created problems for the so-called Hindus. So these things are going on. Even now, I mean, things are still going on. Uh, but not so covert, not so overt way, but in a covert way in India. It's still going on. Full campaign is going on still under different banners, under the banner of minority rights. You know, in this way they are trying to um, play the game. एट एट बोली काजी गेलो नगरिया लोक प्रभु स्थान निवेदिलो पाया बड़ शोक. After saying this, the Kazi returned home, and the devotees, greatly shocked that they were forbidden to chant Hare Krishna, submitted their grief to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. प्रभु आज्ञा दिलो जहाँ करोह कीर्तन मुई संहारी मुआजी सकल जवन. Lord Chaitanya ordered, go perform Sankirtan. Today I shall kill all the Muslims. Purport. Gandhi is known for having started the movement of non-violent civil disobedience in India. But about 500 years before him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his movement of non-violent civil disobedience to the order of Chand Kazi. Now, although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I'll kill all the Muslims," he never did so. Out of anger, he said that. But later, when you see, he was very affectionately talking to Chand Kazi and eventually converted him by, logical presentation. So, 500 years before him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his movement of non-violent civil disobedience to the order of Chand Kazi. It is not necessary to commit violence to stop the opposition from hindering a movement, for one can kill their demoniac behavior with reason and argument. Following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whenever there are obstacles, the Hare Krishna movement should kill the opposition with reason and argument and thus stop their demoniac behavior. So this is how. So in order to be able to do this, we have to know our stuff very well. Reason and argument. We have to kill the opposition by reason and argument. This we can do. We don't need to fight big physical fights, but reason and argument. If we became violent in every case, it would be difficult for us to manage our affairs. We should therefore follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who disobeyed the order of Chand Kazi but subdued him with reason and argument. This is a very important instruction. So, even when we meet opposing elements or something, we should know how to present our case. घरे गिया सब लोक करय कीर्तन काजिर भये स्वच्छंद नहे चमकित मन. Returning home, all the citizens began performing Sankirtan, but because of the order of the Kazi, they were not carefree but always full of anxiety. They performed Sankirtan, but with full of anxiety. तासभार अंतर भय प्रभु मने जानी कहिते लागिल लोके शीघ्र डाकी आनी. Understanding the anxiety within the people's minds, the Lord called them together and spoke to them as follows. Nagare nagare aji korimu kirtan sandhya kale koro sabhe nagara mandan. In the evening I shall perform Sankirtan in each and every town. Therefore you should all decorate the city in the evening. At that time, Navadvip was composed of 9 small cities, so the words Nagare Nagare are significant. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to perform Kirtan in each of these neighboring towns. He ordered the city decorated for the function. Sandhyate duty sobe, jwala ghore ghore, dekho kono kaji ashi more mana kore. In the evening, burn torchlights in every home. I shall give protection to everyone. Let us see what kind of Kazi comes to stop our Kirtan. एटा कहि संध्या काले चाले गौर राय कीर्तनेर कोइलो प्रभु तीन संप्रदाय. In the evening, Lord Gaurasundar went out and formed 3 parties to perform Kirtan. Purport. There is a scheme for performing Kirtan in a procession. So, how Kirtan should be performed in a procession? There is a protocol. During Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, one party was composed of 21 men. 4 people playing mridangas, 1 leading the chanting, and 16 others striking kartals, responding to the leading chanter. If many men join the Sankirtan movement, they may follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and form different parties according to the time and the number of men available. आगे संप्रदाय नृत्य कोरे हरिदास मध्य नाचे आचार्य गोसाई परम उल्लास. In the front party danced Thakur Haridas and in the middle party danced Advaita Acharya with great jubilation. पाछे संप्रदाय नृत्य करे गौर चंद्र तार संगे नाची बोले प्रभु नित्यानंद. Lord Gaurasundar himself danced in the rear party and Sri Nityananda Prabhu moved with Lord Chaitanya's dancing. One second. वृंदावन दास इहा चैतन्य मंगले विस्तारी वर्णिया छेन प्रभु कृपा बोले. By the grace of the Lord, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described this incident in his Chaitanya Mangal, now Chaitanya Bhagavat. এই মত কীর্তন করি নগরে ভ্রমিলা ভ্রমিতে ভ্রমিতে সভে কাজী দ্বারে গেলা. Performing kirtan in this way, circumambulating through every nook and corner of the city, they finally reached the door of the Kazi. তর্জ করে লোক করে কোলাহল গৌরচন্দ্র বলে লোক প্রশ্রয় পাগল. Murmuring in anger and making a roaring sound, the people under the protection of Lord Chaitanya became mad through such indulgence. Purport. The Kazi had issued an order not to perform kirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, but when this was brought up to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ordered civil disobedience to the Kazi's order. Lord Chaitanya and all his devotees, naturally enthusiastic although agitated, must have made a great noise with their loud cries. कीर्तनेर ध्वनिते काजे लुकाइलो घरे तर्जन गर्जन सुनी ना होए बाहिरे. The loud sound of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra certainly made the Kazi very much afraid, and he hid himself within his room. Hearing the people thus protesting, murmuring in great anger, the Kazi would not come out of his home. Purport. The Kazi's order not to perform Sankirtan could stand only as long as there was no civil disobedience. Under the leadership of the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the chanters, increasing in number, disobeyed the order of the Kazi. So this is the thing. When they do this kind of stuff, ordering, people are in great numbers. If they organize something so big protest, then nothing can be done. Nothing could be done by the Kazi. Even Britishers also. Um, the protest, 1946, they call it the naval mutiny. Actually, that was the beginning of the independence. That was the independence fight. So, the army, the navy people of the British army and the British navy were all Indians. So, they all turned against the British, and then, when that happened, the British could not do anything. So, under the leadership of the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the chanters, increasing in number, disobeyed the order of the Kazi. Thousands assembled together and formed parties, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and making a tumultuous sound of protest. You see, thousands. Thus, the Kazi was very much afraid, as naturally one should be under such circumstances. In the present day, also, people all over the world may join together in Krishna consciousness movement and protest against the present degraded governments of the world's godless societies, which are based on all kinds of sinful activities. Srimad Bhagavatam states that in the age of Kali, thieves, rogues, and fourth class people who have neither education nor culture capture the seats of governments to exploit the citizens. This is a symptom of Kali Yuga that has already appeared. People cannot feel secure about their lives and property, yet the so called governments continue and government ministers get fat salaries although they are unable to do anything good for society. The only remedy for such conditions is to enhance the Sankirtan movement under the banner of Krishna consciousness and protest against the sinful activities of all the world's governments. The Krishna consciousness movement is not a sentimental religious movement, it is a movement for the reformation of all anomalies of human society. If people take to it seriously, discharging this duty scientifically, as ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the world will see peace and prosperity instead of being confused and hopeless under useless governments. There are always rogues and thieves in human society, and as soon as a weak government is unable to execute its duties, these rogues and thieves come out to do their business. Thus, the entire society becomes a hell unfit for gentlemen to live in. There is an immediate need for a government by the people with Krishna consciousness. Unless the masses of people become Krishna conscious, they cannot be good men. The Krishna consciousness movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra still has its potency. Therefore, people should understand it seriously and scientifically and spread it all over the world. The Sankirtan movement started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Khanda 23rd chapter beginning with verse 241, which states, "My dear Lord, let my mind be fixed at your lotus feet." Following Lord Chaitanya's chanting, all the devotees reproduced the same sound he chanted. In this way, the Lord proceeded, leading the entire party on the strand roads by the bank of the Ganga. When the Lord came to his own ghat or bathing place, he danced more and more. Then he proceeded to Madhai's ghat. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, who was known as Vishwambhar, danced all over the banks of the Ganga. Then he proceeded to Barkona Ghat and Nagariya Ghat, and traveling through Ganganagar, reached Simulia, a quarter at one end of the town. All these places surround Sri Mayapur. After reaching Simulia, the Lord proceeded toward the Kazi's house, and in this way he reached the door of Chand Kazi. So, Prabhupada is explaining how we should protest. Now, currently, relatively, the governments are stable. At least they allow us to, have our activities going on. So it's relatively stable. Maybe some countries more than others. But as time goes on, we can expect governments to be absolutely ruthless and completely against any religious activity and banning everything. Well, that time, so there is time for all these things. So when these kind of things happen, then there has to be protest, and there has to be. I mean, it doesn't have to be violent, but like this, you know. So there is place for everything. We are not pacifists. We are not, because pacifism means, oh, non-violence. No, we are not. If there is need to fight, we will fight. Yeah. This Gandhi came up with non-violence from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is all violence. Arjuna wanted to do non-violence. Krishna said, "Do fight." So when there is need to fight for dharma, the fight has to be done. Uh, but the fight can take on many flavors. So for now, we don't have to fight like Arjun or Hanuman, but we can fight like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, leelas, are very much suited for Kali Yuga. Now, even though we may read the heroic activities of Arjuna or Ramchandra Bhagavan, or all the great devotees mentioned in the Puranas, we cannot do anything similar. So it's not exactly, the principle is relevant, but the exact details are not relevant to our time, because we can't do anything like that. We are not a warrior. We are not. The war is not going to be with arrows and anything like that, or even with guns. Also, you can't do anything like that. So, how to execute this movement in Kali Yuga? That context of Kali Yuga, preaching in the context of Kali Yuga, is shown by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he dealt with Muslims, he dealt with Buddhists, he did not deal with Christians, um, because Christians were not there at the time in India. The Muslims were there, the Buddhists were there. So, so you can see, and he also dealt with other you know uh, like even Vaishnavas. Even he was going to the demigod temples as well, the Shaivas, the Shaktas. He was converting everybody to Vaishnavas. And how to do that with reason and argument, as Prabhupada said in the earlier purport, and sometimes maybe showing a force, like this protest that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done. So one can conduct one's mission. So we are not pacifists. So we will take on the challenge if it comes to that. If the practice of our dharma is, if it comes under question, or if the authority stops it or tries to stop it, then we have to take up the fight. And to be very honest, um, Singapore has been, I mean, relatively quite orderly. But in the beginning times, in the 70s, 80s, Hare Krishna movement was banned here. Yeah, it's not a um, it's not a nice time to be in if you're a Hare Krishna devotee. 1970s, 80s, and even 90s. So Sundar Gopal Prabhu had a long fight, but of course, fight means the perseverance, the strength. So eventually, the government had to agree for him to have a society in 1997. So from 1975, he came in contact with the Hare Krishna movement, and I mean, it's gone. And eventually, in 1979, I think he attempted to register the society. It was banned. It was not allowed. And then eventually, pushing his way, he got it registered in 1997. So, although of course by peaceful means, when there was no violence. So government has also, agreed to give him. So in that way, we have to fight. And even Rath Yatra. Now our Singapore Rath Yatra is, known. Last year we had close to 15,000 people. So when I joined, there was no one. The Rath Yatra was a couple of hundred devotees, all devotees, and there was no outsider, nothing. So in the beginning, he did not even know where, because in Singapore you can't do the Rath Yatra on the roads, just like in other countries. India and other countries. They don't allow here. And there was nowhere. So he fought, and then finally they allowed, asked him to do in the stadium. Okay, so okay, well and good. So 2006 onwards, stadium. So now, it's a big event, huge event. It's our biggest event of the year. So in this way, we have to establish a Sankirtan movement. There will be difficulties, but we have to push on. Eventually, things will work out by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. उद्धत लोक भांगे काजिर घर पुष्पवन विस्तारी वर्णिला इहा दास vrindavan. Naturally, some of the people who were very much agitated began to retaliate the Kazi's actions by wrecking his house and flower garden. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described this incident. तबे महाप्रभु तार द्वारे ते वसीला भव्य लोक पाठाइया काजिरे बोलाइया. Thereafter, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reached the Kazi's house, he sat down by the doorway and sent some respectable persons to call for the Kazi. दूर होइते आइला काजी माथा नोयाया काजी रे वसाइला प्रभु सम्मान करिया. When the Kazi came, his head bowed down. The Lord gave him proper respect and a seat. Purport. So you see, although he said, "Oh, I will kill all these Muslims" and all that, but you see, when the Kazi came out, how he dealt with some people were, getting agitated, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not agitated. See, now you can read the purport. Some of the men in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's civil disobedience movement were agitated because they could not control their minds. But the Lord was thoroughly peaceful, sober, and unagitated. Therefore, when the Kazi came down to see him, the Lord offered him proper respect and a seat because he was a respectable government officer. Thus, the Lord taught us by his personal behavior. In pushing on our Sankirtan movement of Krishna consciousness, we might have to face difficult days, but we should always follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and do the needful according to the time and circumstance. According to the time and circumstance. প্রভু বলেন আমি তোমার আইলাম অভ্যাগত অভ্যাগত আমি দেখি লুকাইলা এ ধর্মকে মত. In a friendly way, the Lord said, "Sir, I have come to your house as your guest, but upon seeing me, you hid yourself in your room. What kind of etiquette is this?" কাজী কহে তুমি আইসো ক্রুদ্ধ হইয়া তোমা শান্ত করাইতে রহিনু লুকাইয়া. The Kazi replied, "You have come to my house in a very angry mood. To pacify you, I did not come before you immediately, but kept myself hidden. এবে তুমি শান্ত হইলে আসি মিলিলা ভাগ্য মোর তোমা হেন অতিথি পাইলা. Now that you have become pacified, I have come to you. It is my good fortune to receive a guest like your honor." Now it is good fortune. Just a while ago, it was a mridanga all broken, and then, oh, don't do anymore. Now, because he is in a disadvantaged position, good fortune to receive a guest like your honor. So, either way, he was at least respecting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, his purification is started. ग्राम संबंधे चक्रवर्ती होय मोर चाचा ग्राम संबंधे चक्रवर्ती होय मोर चाचा देह संबंधे होते होय ग्राम संबंध साचा. In our village relationship, Nilambar Chakravarti Thakur was my uncle. Such a relationship is stronger than a bodily relationship. Purport. In India, even in the interior villages, all the Hindu and Muslim communities used to live very peacefully by establishing a relationship between them. So, this was the case. Although the Muslims invaded like anything and converted so many people into Muslims, but the common people, the leaders were there agitating the whole masses, but the common people they used to live peacefully by establishing a relationship between them. The young men called the elderly members of the village by the name Chacha or Kaka. That's why, or uncle, and men of the same age called each other Dada or brother. So you see, in India we still have this culture of anybody neighbor or anybody elderly person we call him uncle, Chacha. So this is there. This is coming from you know many hundreds of years ago. In fact, even in Vedic culture, people used to be very tight knit and close community, and everybody used to know everybody in the village, like that. It was very harmonious situation. The relationship was very friendly. There were even invitations from Muslim houses to Hindu houses and from Hindu houses to Muslim houses. Both the Hindus and the Muslims accepted the invitations to go to one another's houses to attend ceremonial functions. I saw this. I was 13 years old. We were in a town, actually. It's not a, yeah, it's a village, yeah, but town, small town, Nalgonda in Andhra Pradesh. So there, our landowners were Muslims, and our neighbors were Muslims. So Eid and everything, they used to call us to their home. So we went there, and we did not eat anything. Of course, they eat meat, but they called us, and even sometimes the landlord also, they called us to their home. They also came to our home. So these things were going on, and even our my Hindi teacher, he was also a Muslim, and I used to go to his home. I used to play with his children, but mostly, of course, study Hindi because I was a little bit weak and I had to pass the exam. So he used to teach me, and we used to be affectionate, So it was that was there, and of course, we had so many friends also who were Muslims in the school, so like that. So both the Hindus and the Muslims accepted the invitations to go to one another's houses to attend ceremonial functions. Now, it may not sound like very much, these things, but um, for cultures that different to be, and when you're aware of the culture of each of them, and then still be friendly, that's you know, looking back, now it at that time we were just doing it out of as if it's a common custom, but if you see the history, it was quite violent, but somehow or other, even after all that, there was peace between the communities somehow or other. Um, it's the deranged leaders who come up with these radical ideologies, which you know disturb the peace. But people in general, they just want to live their lives. I mean, they just want to earn their living and maintain their families. They don't have big agendas in life. They just want to get by with life and be as non-confrontational as possible. But of course, the deranged leaders who, if they are radical in their ideology, they may infuse the public with some kind of radical sentiments, and it usually ends up in unwanted consequences. So both the Hindus and Muslims accepted the invitations to go to one another's houses to attend ceremonial functions. Even until 50 or 60 years ago, the relationship between Hindus and Muslims was very friendly, and there were no disturbances. Now, from the leader's point of view, they were always very, very focused in creating a Muslim identity and being very strict about it, and you know that was going on. But the people in general, um, they were not so radical. Okay? And if actually this is something which has to be understood, because many people get this wrong, even governments get this wrong. They think that if people become very rigid in their religious practice, by definition they will become antagonistic to other religions, because they will be very strongly for their religion and they cannot agree with anything the other religion. Maybe superficially they will be friendly, but internally they will like no. And yes, there is a component of that. There's definitely a component of that. But um, that is if you see from the materialistic point of view. But a real person, the definition of religion, we'll just come back here. If you see, Prabhupada taught us a very nice definition of religion from the Bhagavatam. You know, it's like a subject in science. Okay, let's read this verse first. सवै पुंसां परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिरधोक्षजे अहैतुक्य प्रतिहता ययात्मा सुप्रसीदति. You see, the supreme occupation or dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So, this is defined as dharma. What is dharma? What is religion? For all humanity, the supreme dharma is that one has to attain to loving devotional service unto Krishna. Now, hey, that is Hindu. Krishna means Hindu. No, it's not. Because Krishna can be known by many, many names. And even the words Allah or Ram or all the anything that refers to the supreme being is referring to Krishna only, because there's only one supreme being. Now, we may say like this, some people argue, oh, you may think like this, but the other religions people, they don't think like this. They think that they are God. Let them think. But we have to be clear. Just because they think wrong, we don't need to think wrong. Right? So we need to give them the understanding, the proper understanding. We have to be, first of all, convinced. It's not that we are trying to make an adjustment here. It is a fact that there is only one God. And whoever they are referring to as the one supreme God, it's the same God. God is one. Now, he has many names. But of course, when Hindus equate demigods to God, that is blasphemous. That even the other religions don't agree, we also don't agree. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivate Samatvenaiva Viksheta Sa Pashandi Bhave Dhruvam. If you equate even such greatest of devatas as Shiva and Brahma to be equal to Narayana, he is considered an atheist if he does that. So it is blasphemous. Pashandi means is reject. So so that is there in every religion, even in ours, Sanatana Dharma. It is a misconception among so-called Hindus that, oh, this is all what is that? Multi-god. What is that word for that? Poly. Um, what is that? Let's see. 12, no. 9:15. Pantheism or polytheism. Yeah. Am I forgetting that word? Okay. So polytheism, pantheism. Hindus think that their religion is actually polytheistic. It is not. Please, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, it will be very, very clear that Krishna is saying, Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Ekam, alone. Okay. And he says clearly, Mattaha parataram nanyat. And nobody equal to or superior to me. I am the supreme. In singular, first person, he is talking that I am the supreme and nobody is equal to me. So, where did you get this polytheistic understanding? That's not Hinduism. That's not our Sanatana Dharma. So, it is very clear that Vishnu or Krishna is the only supreme person and everybody else is devatas. So, if we see, in essence, all the religions are saying the exact same thing. There is no, nowadays I've seen that Hindus in India, some of them are protesting that oh, the mosque is blaring with the speakers, the azan, that is being blared with the speakers 5 times a day. It's saying that only Allah is God and no one other than Allah is God. And some Hindus are offended by that. There is no need to be offended because Allah and Krishna is the same person. Now, you may say that the Muslims don't agree to this. They may not agree. They don't know. They don't know. We know. Okay? But they say that only Allah has to be accepted and no one. That is our point also. Only Krishna has to be accepted and no one else as God. Everybody else is Devata. If you want to do Devata Puja, you do. Don't say that he is equal to Krishna. He or she is equal to Krishna. That is blasphemous. That understanding is blasphemous. It is nowhere supported in any of our Shastras. If we have to have a discussion on religion, then it has to be based on the Shastras. I cannot base it on what people feel. Oh, if you say like that, people will become angry. They have to change. This religion is not just a showpiece, right? It's a way of life. It's the way of life. How to actually purify ourselves. It is mandatory for humans. Otherwise, you're not human. You're an animal. If you don't base your life on the scriptures, because यह शास्त्र विदम उत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिम अवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. You will suffer if you don't accept Shastra in this life and in the next. Whereas, um, तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्य व्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्र विधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुम् इहार्हसि. 16th chapter 23rd and 24th verses. These are everything we have to know what is to be done and what is not to be done from the regulations of the scriptures. So if we are going to discuss a religious subject matter without reference to scripture, what nonsense is that? So we cannot just pander to the public. That's not the way to go. We have to get the public to accept the scriptural. What is scripture saying? Just because you have created your own concocted version of religion, now I have to endorse it. No, I will not. We will not. We will talk against it, and that is for the purification of people. Whether they accept or not, that is another thing. But we will present it with reason and argument that that is wrong. You may not like it, but we will do it. Of course, we will do it in a civil way, but truth has to be spoken. Otherwise, we will just be misled like this, and the whole population will be misled. So we cannot do that. Of course, if they want to do whatever they want, they can do. But we have to be clear. For those who are sincere, they will join. Those are not, what you can do. But you must speak the truth. You cannot not speak the truth. After that, whether they want to follow or not, that's up to them. We're not forcing anyone, but we have to speak the truth. Nobody should gag the mouth. Nowadays, it's all about freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Many times it's a farce. Actually, there's no freedom of speech. Even now, they're doing all these censorships, fact checkers, all nonsense. The fact checkers, they don't even know anything. They're not even experts in their subject, and they're fact checking. And the real experts in the subject, they are being censored by these fact checkers who don't know anything. This we have seen during the COVID time. All farce. Farce number one. This was happening, rampant scale. So that kind of things may happen even more, and it is still happening. Censorship is happening everywhere. So we have to be, we should not shy away from telling the truth. Krishna actually tests us whether we want to speak the truth or not. Even with challenge, even with in a challenging situation, if one speaks the truth, even though it is difficult, then that is when Krishna will actually take notice. Yes, this person is standing for me no matter what. Otherwise, if we compromise on the principles, then what are we standing for? That's why it is said: if you've got nothing to live, if you've got nothing to die for, then you got nothing to live for. Martin Luther King apparently said this. If you've got nothing to die for, you have got nothing to live for. Because if you're not prepared to die for this, for Krishna consciousness, then what are you living for? There was another great thinker. I just read that quote yesterday or day before. Why are you bothering to live if you're not, working on purifying your existence? Of course, he said in a little different context. Basically, the point is this: why are we bothering to live if we are not actually using our life to serve Krishna? Why are we bothering to live? So, so in this way, we should not hate any other religious process, but we should have healthy discussions and debates and let people decide which makes sense. So, every religion points to the same direction, but some have more in depth knowledge that will help us meditate on the Lord and become His devotee much quicker. So, if the end goal is, what is that, determined, that we should understand God and love Him. If that is the end goal, then whichever path will take us there quicker should be taken up, right? That is efficiency. We're just talking plain efficiency, logical. This is logical. We're not into conversion. We're not talking about any of that yet. Just efficiency, which will take you faster to that place. That's it. So that religious system has to be adopted. So, in order to facilitate healthy discussion about these things, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, suggested that there be open conversations where people can attend, and there'll be a public gathering, and people will debate in a civil debate without inciting any harsh or anger of anyone. One has to debate purely philosophically. So nowadays, actually, to an extent, this can be done in the social media. So one has to be responsible, of course. One should not be brazen, and responsibly one should, present the points. So in that way, something can start at least. So yeah, this is something which if we are to preach, we have to think on these lines: how to present our Krishna consciousness to everyone in all fields. Prabhupada gave another example. See, religion is just like, for example, physics. Okay, physics is the subject. Now, you can come from this university or that university or that university, but whether you are qualified physicist or not is how well you understood the subject. That's what matters. So we are not into which religion is better. No, whichever religion you take, have you come to the point of understanding God and loving Him? If you have, then that is perfect. Now, many people say, yes, we have, but it has to be tested, not just your claim for it. No, we won't accept your claim on the basis of a claim. No, it has to be tested. There are symptoms of everyone. A sick man has symptoms, a rich man has symptoms. Similarly, a God conscious person has symptoms. If he has learned how to love God, then he will also love every child of God. He will not kill the animals, for example. Now, I may say, what about the plants? Well, yes, we don't have any right to kill, but if Krishna says that this is the food for you, because for maintenance, some jivrasi or some living entity has to be eaten to maintain this body. So if it is offered to Krishna, that living entity benefits, we benefit. So everybody benefits in this. Yeah. Their otherwise useless life almost will be a life of contribution where they contribute to the environment. For example, plants. They give, oxygen. That's why even planting trees is a very auspicious or pious activity. Yeah. That is also mentioned in the Shastras. Digging wells, planting trees, these are all pious activities. Why? The trees give a very cooling atmosphere. So trees by nature, they're always giving to the human society. So human society, sometimes people say that, oh, we are using animals, this is animal abuse. When you use bull for what is that called, plowing the land, oh, this is animal abuse. Oh, hello, do you know how strong the bull is? And moreover, and actually, it will be abuse if there is no Krishna consciousness involved. Yes, then you're exploiting one living entity for your own profits. But when everything is Krishna conscious, if the center is Krishna, and if the human civilization with Varnashram system in an organized way serve Krishna, okay, whatever the humans use in the service of Krishna, the lower living entities get indirectly employed in the service of Krishna. For example, if a deity has to be transported on a horse carriage, or there is this famous story of a donkey where this man was, carrying the deity on a donkey, and everybody was bowing down to the donkey, and the donkey thought he was very important, and he was feeling like, too puffed up, and then at the end of his journey, the deity was brought down and installed in the temple. After that, the donkey was going as if he's a big time guy, and everybody was just shooing away the donkey. What is happening? So it was because of the deity that people were buying, not because of the donkey. So, of course, the moral of the story was that we should not think ourselves too important. If we are serving the Lord, it's because of the Lord's mercy that if somebody offers us any respect, that is because of the Lord's mercy. Um, Not that I'm a great guy. If the Lord withdraws that, then people will chase us away. So, um, so in this way. So anyway, the point is the donkey was used in carrying the deity. So in this way, the donkey also benefited, right? So in this way, animals or plants and even trees, for example, suppose sannyasis are traveling. Okay, I'm just giving a scenario. Sannyasis are traveling, and hot afternoon, and then they take rest under the shade of a tree. Now that tree has served the sannyasis, I mean preachers, devotees. So the tree has benefited. So just by laying under the shade of the tree, you may think that the tree is helping me by giving me shade. To an extent, maybe, but the bigger help who gave is always one. See, we are not independent. We have to depend on something. Krishna is independent. He doesn't need anyone. We need. Even if we become devotees and even if we preach, we may take help of technology. We may take help of anything. That is certainly help. But we should give back in return more than what we took. That is a elevated person. He should give back more than what he took. So what does that mean? So of course we have paid some money and bought some computer and doing this live stream and all this. Now employing the machine in Krishna's service is much greater use of that machine than what was intended by the you know uh, creator of the machine. And by doing so, he became an instrument in broadcasting the message of Krishna. So in that way, he got a bigger benefit than the devotee getting the benefit of the machine or live streaming system. So who, of course, everybody benefits actually. The devotee also can broadcast his message, and the person who created the thing can help. I mean, has indirectly come into service of the devotees who are broadcasting the message. So everybody is benefited by this. Everybody is benefited. So human beings are certainly more intelligent than the animals and plants. That human being, more intelligent person, has to be like a big brother for the other species. They cannot engage directly in Krishna's service, so we have to engage them in Krishna's service. So even if animals are used by the humans, as long as the humans are Krishna conscious, the animals, the plants, and everybody will be employed in Krishna consciousness, Krishna's service. In this way, one can act for the elevation of every living entity. Now, but if we just use it for our own profits and then for our own sense gratification, yes, then we'll be implicated. We will be implicated. So, whether using bull or all these things, this is not abuse as long as it is used in Krishna's service. So, when you love God, you have to love everything that belongs to God, and that they have to be used for His service. Okay? So, this is the definition of religion. So, going back, we do not find any Hindu Muslim riots in the history of India. Okay, see here. Even until 50 or 60 years ago, the relationship between Hindus and Muslims was very friendly and there were no disturbances. We do not find any Hindu Muslim riots in the history of India, even during the days of the Muslims' rule over the country. So you may say, oh, that is not fact. Well, it was. Because, I mean, people, they fought when the Muslims attacked. There were wars. There was uncalled for killing by the Muslims. We are not denying that. But Hindus were, they adjusted the situation and made it a peaceful situation. And somehow the Muslims also after that became a little bit more the downline. They were, of course, very, very radical Muslims, they were there. And they did all this nonsense. But riots where Hindus also, go and break them, that was not there. Conflict, you see, let's read on. Conflict between Hindus and Muslims was created by polluted politicians, especially foreign rulers, and thus the situation gradually became so degraded that India was divided into Hindustan and Pakistan. So you can see more riots, especially under the British. divide and rule and conquer. They were just making a, a, if there was a fissure, they would make it wider and put a wedge there and then break it. That's what they wanted to. And that's what happened. Hindustan and Pakistan. Fortunately, the remedy to unite not only the Hindus and Muslims but all communities and all nations can still be implemented by the Hare Krishna movement on a strong basic platform of love of Godhead. So that's our offering to the world. If only people understand and governments understand what is our movement actually, the whole world will be peaceful. People think sometimes, even governments, they think that we are, troublemakers. That's the exact opposite of who we are. We are actually peacemakers. And if only the government listens to what we have to say, the whole world will be peaceful. All this UN and all this won't work. Crap. All this is crap. Oh, big, big delegations, big, big names, but nothing's going to happen there. It's all crap. All nonsense. Rubbish. Without Krishna consciousness, you cannot have peace. নীলাম্বর চক্রবর্তী হয় তোমার নানা সে সম্বন্ধে হও তুমি আমার ভাগিনা. Nilambar Chakravarti is your maternal grandfather, and by this relationship, you are thus my nephew. ভাগিনার ক্রোধ মামা অবশ্য সহায় মাতুলের অপরাধ ভাগিনা না লয়. When a nephew is very angry, his maternal uncle is tolerant, and when the maternal uncle commits an offense, the nephew does not take it very seriously. So in this way, he is diplomatically talking, you see, to pacify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. এই মতো দুহার কথা হয় ঠারে ঠরে ভিতরের অর্থ কেহ বুঝিতে না পারে. In this way, the Kazi and the Lord talked with each other with various indications, but no outsider could understand the inner meaning of their conversation. प्रभु को है प्रश्न लागे आयलाम तुम्हार स्थाने काजी को है आज्ञा करो जे तुम्हार मने. The Lord said, "My dear uncle, I have come to your home just to ask you some questions." Yes, the Kazi replied, "You are welcome. Just tell me what is in your mind." प्रभु को है गोदुग्ध प्रभु को है गोदुग्ध खाओ गाभी तुम्हार माता वृष अन्न उपजाए ताते ते हो पिता. Now, this is religious debate. The Lord said, "You drink cow's milk, therefore the cow is your mother." This is logic. Now, this is plain logic. Oh, Hindus worship cow. Now, let's talk logic. Don't Hindus worship cow? Cows give milk and therefore they are your mother. Finish. This is logic. We take mother's milk. The cow is giving her milk. Cow is our mother. And the bull produces grains for your maintenance, therefore he is your father. পিতা মাতা মারে খাও এ বা কোন ধর্ম কোন বলে করো তুমি এই মত বিকর্ম. Since the bull and cow are your father and mother, how can you kill and eat them? What kind of religious principle is this? On what strength are you so daring that you commit such sinful activities? Okay. Recently, I've watched a video of Muslim imam. He's a Muslim preacher. He's from Australia. Very interesting man. He's very much respectful of Sanatan Dharma, and he gave a few talks in India as well. And he absolutely condemns the violence that was meted out to the Hindus by the Muslim invaders in the past. And he, interestingly, is a vegetarian. And he has stopped eating meat, and he said his health has first of all improved with that. Moreover, there is no single commandment in the Quran that says that you must eat the cow. There is no such thing. In fact, Islam, when it started in Arabia, people used to eat camels and such lower animals. But cow they never touched. When they came to India, that's when they started eating cows. So, but there is no injunction that you must eat cows. There's no such thing. So, even if they don't eat cows, they can be perfectly Muslims. And this man, he's perfectly vegetarian and he's still Muslim. I know one lady here, Malay lady. She comes and feeds the cats here on the road every day morning. She's a vegetarian for years, and she's a Muslim. So you're not violating the principle of Islam by being vegetarian. In fact, It is said that blood is haram, both in Jewish religion and um, Islam, and which is why they invent ways to bring out the blood. Like I heard for kosher means like halal for Muslims, kosher for Jews, agreeable food. I mean something which they can eat. Okay? In the kosher, what they do is apparently, I did not know this before, just recently I came to know. So they cut the meat and then there will be some blood in the capillaries. You cannot say that all blood is gone. So they put on a spindle or something like that and then, like, centrifugal force, turn it so much so that hopefully all the blood will come out. You cannot guarantee that every blood has come out, and you are trying to circumvent the rule there. That is the even bigger issue here. No blood means not that you eat. Oh, I am not eating blood. I am draining on the blood and eating only meat. No, no, no. Hello. Don't even spill a drop of blood for your food. That is the actual meaning. You can't take blood. So, and you cannot even ensure that every single droplet of blood is out of the body or out of the meat. You cannot ensure actually. There are so fine capillaries you cannot take it out entirely. So it's always haram actually if you really look at it. But um, people don't listen to this logical arguments, and they get all offended. And we're not saying anything. We're just looking at your text and giving a logical interpretation of it, or the straightforward meaning of it. You actually cannot eat meat. No religion actually will condone meat eating. No religion. But people have their own interpretations and their own ways of doing things. So anyway, so he's saying this. He's asking this question: what kind of religious principle is this? You're eating mother and father. On what strength are you daring to that to commit such sinful activities? Purport: everyone can understand that we drink the milk of cows and take the help of bulls in producing agricultural products. Therefore, since our real father gives us food grains and our mother gives us milk with which to live, the cow and bull are considered our father and mother. According to Vedic civilization, there are 7 mothers, of which the cow is one. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu challenged the Muslim Kazi: what kind of religious principle do you follow by killing your father and mother to eat them? In any civilized human society, no one would dare kill his father and mother for the purpose of eating them. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu challenged the system of Muslim religion as patricide and matricide. Patricide means to kill the father, matricide means to kill the mother. Just like pesticide means to kill the pest. In the Christian religion also, a principal commandment is thou shalt not kill. Nevertheless, Christians violate this rule. They are very expert in killing and in opening slaughterhouses. You see, they have mechanized mass killing. In our Krishna consciousness movement, our first provision is that no one should be allowed to eat any kind of flesh. It does not matter whether it is cow's flesh or goat's flesh, but we especially stress the prohibition against cow's flesh because according to Shastra, the cow is our mother. Thus, the Muslims' cow killing was challenged by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. काजी को है तुम्हारे जय छे वेद पुराण तय छे अमर शास्त्र केताव कुरान. Actually, Ketab means actually Kitab. Kitab Quran. Kitab means book. The Kazi replied, as you have your scriptures called the Vedas and Puranas, we have our scripture known as the Holy Quran. Purport: Chand Kazi agreed to talk with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the strength of the scriptures. According to the Vedic scripture, if one can support his position by quoting from the Vedas, his argument is perfect. Similarly, when the Muslims support their position with quotations from the Quran, their arguments are also authorized. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raised the question of the Muslims' cow killing and bull killing, Chand Kazi came to the standard of understanding from his scriptures. से शास्त्र को है प्रवृत्ति निवृत्ति मार्ग भेद निवृत्ति मार्ग जीव मात्र वधेर निषेध. According to the Quran, there are 2 ways of advancement: through increasing the propensity to enjoy, and through decreasing the propensity to enjoy. So this is pravritti and nivritti marga. They have their words. I don't know what exactly they call it. I saw austerity and penance. There's a word for it, which I forgot. They have certain actually verses on renunciation in their hadith and in their Quran as well. I saw one blog post. So anyway, I did not go deep into this research. I would love to actually, if I have time, whenever I have time, to find some quotations and all that. Let's see. On the path of decreasing attachment, nivritti marga, the killing of animals is prohibited. You see, this is there. Chandkazi is telling that on the path of nivritti marga, of course, we say nivritti marga, maybe they are Muslims have their own word. The killing of animals is prohibited. In the pravritti marga, it is encouraged. Just like our Vedas, the people who cannot give up meat eating, okay, once in a month you do killing. So like that. So apparently there must have been something like that provision for the uh, kurban or whatever they call it, sacrifice. But I also want to actually know the exact what is the text for killing. Is there anything? Because blood is haram. So anyway, प्रवृत्ति मार्गे गोवध करिते प्रवृत्ति मार्गे गोवध करिते विधि হয় शास्त्र आज्ञाय वध কইলে নাহি পাপ ভয়. On the path of material activities, there is regulation for killing cows. If such killing is done under the guidance of scripture, there is no sin. Purport. The word Shastra is derived from the dhatu or verbal root shas. Shas dhatu pertains to controlling or ruling. A government's ruling through force or weapons is called Shastra. Thus, whenever there is ruling either by weapons or by injunctions, the Shas dhatu is the basic principle. Between Shastra, ruling through weapons, and Shastra, ruling through the injunctions of the scriptures, the better is Shastra or scriptures. Our Vedic scriptures are not ordinary law books of human common sense. They are the statements of factually liberated persons unaffected by the imperfections of the senses. So, this is very important. Many Hindus even don't take this in the same way. They think, oh, it is all debatable. It's all by just some sages. It's not debatable. And they're not just some ordinary philosophers. No, they were liberated persons, far above the imperfection of material existence. Shastra must be correct always, not sometimes correct and sometimes incorrect. In the Vedic scriptures, the cow is described as a mother, therefore, she is a mother for all time. It is not, as some rascals say, that in the Vedic age she was a mother, but she is not in this age. If Shastra is an authority, the cow is a mother always. She was a mother in the Vedic age and she is a mother in this age also. If one acts according to the injunctions of the Shastra, he is freed from the reactions of sinful activity. For example, the propensities for eating flesh, drinking wine, and enjoying sex are all natural to the conditioned soul. The path of such enjoyment is called pravritti marga. The Shastra says, pravrittiresha bhutanam nivrittistu mahaphala. One should not be carried away by the propensities of defective conditioned life. One should be guided by the principles of the Shastras. A child's propensity is to play all day long, but it is the injunction of the Shastras that the parents should take care to educate him. The Shastras are there just to guide the activities of the human society. But because people do not refer to the injunctions of Shastras, which are free from defects and imperfections, they are therefore misguided by so called educated teachers and leaders who are full of the deficiencies of conditioned life. Perfect purport. So the pravritti and nivritti marga are mentioned here. তোমার বেদেতে আছে গোবধের বাণী অতএব গোবধ করে বড় বড় মুনি. As a learned scholar, the Kazi challenged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In your Vedic scriptures, there is an injunction for killing a cow. On the strength of this injunction, great sages perform sacrifices involving cow killing. Now look at this. Kazi, he was not only expert in his own scriptures, but he also had some familiarity with our scriptures as well. They were doing interfaith study back then. They were even the Muslims were kind of conversant with some of the aspects of our Sanatan Dharma. Of course, it was a misunderstanding what Kazi had, but he was trying to show our scriptures to convince Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. प्रभु को है वेद को है गोवध निषेध अतएव हिंदू मात्र ना करे गोवध. Refuting the Kazi's statement, the Lord immediately replied, the Vedas clearly enjoin that cows should not be killed. Therefore, every Hindu, whoever he may be, avoids indulging in cow killing. Now, this whoever he may be means whether Shakta, Shaiva, Vaishnava, or anybody, he will not kill the cow. Any Hindu, because this is prohibited um, in our Shastra. Purport: in the Vedic scriptures, there are concessions for meat eaters. It is said that if one wants to kill a goat, if one wants to eat meat, he should kill a goat before the goddess Kali and then eat its meat. Meat eaters are not allowed to purchase meat or flesh from a market or slaughterhouse. There are no sanctions for maintaining regular slaughterhouses to satisfy the tongues of meat eaters. As far as cow killing is concerned, it is completely forbidden. Since the cow is considered a mother, how could the Vedas allow cow killing? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pointed out that the Kazi's statement was faulty. In the Bhagavad Gita 1844, there is a clear injunction that cows should be protected. Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. The duty of Vaishyas is to produce agricultural products, trade, and give protection to cows. Therefore, it is a false statement that the Vedic scriptures contain injunctions permitting cow killing. And just for the record, the original Bhagavad Gita 1972 version, this Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam, Goraksha is translated as cattle raising. You show that verse to any Muslim or Christian, it's cattle raising, yeah. They will raise the cattle and kill them when we need it. So there is no protection of cows mentioned in that. That is a huge mistake, huge, massive mistake. It's opposite to our conclusion. So those original Vadis who are fanatic about it, please understand that it is not perfect at all. Okay, so the next one. জিয়াইতে পারে যদি তবে জিয়াইতে পারে যদি তবে মারে প্রাণী বেদ পুরাণে আছে হেন আজ্ঞাবাণী জিয়াইতে পারে যদি তবে মারে প্রাণী. So in the Vedas and Puranas there are injunctions declaring, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling this, in the Vedas and Puranas there are injunctions declaring that if one can revive a living being, one can kill it for experimental purposes. অতএব জরদ্গব মারে মুনিগণ বেদ মন্ত্রে সিদ্ধ করে তাহার জীবন. Therefore, the great sages sometimes killed old cows, and by chanting Vedic hymns, they brought them back to life for perfection. জরদ্গব হয়া যুবা হয় আর বার তাতে তার বধ নহে হয় উপকার. The killing and rejuvenation of such old and invalid cows was not truly killing, but an act of great benefit. कलिकाले तैच्छे शक्ति नाहिक ब्राह्मणे अतएव गोवध केह ना करे एखने. Formerly, they were powerful Brahmanas who could make such experiments using Vedic hymns, but now, because of the Kali Yuga, Brahmanas are not so powerful. Therefore, the killing of cows and bulls for rejuvenation is forbidden. See, this is very interesting. See, the cows and bulls were rejuvenated. So this Gometa sacrifices, Ashwamedha sacrifice, we have heard of this, but we do not know actually what happens there. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining that new life comes from there, fresh new body. Ashwamedham gavalambham sannyasam palapaitrikam devarena sutotpattim kalau pancha vivarjayet. In this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden: the offering of a horse in sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, the offering of a cow in sacrifice, the acceptance of the order of sannyas, the offering of oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and a man's begetting children in his brother's wife. Now, Ashwamedha and Gomedha, we have just understood what it is, that they are rejuvenation. Sannyas, we get the idea of, because in this Kali Yuga, nobody can, hardly anybody can actually maintain the rules of sannyas. And there will be many quack sannyasis who are cheaters, who take to intoxication and illicit sex. But The sannyasis for preaching, that we have to accept. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself accepted, and for preaching purposes and strictly following, yes, sannyasis is allowed. But generally, it is disallowed for the people. So that is about sannyas. Now, the offering of oblations of flesh to the forefathers. Now, in what context they use? Of course, Manusmriti, you can find this mention of offering flesh to the forefathers. But again, how is it offered and why is it offered? I have no clarity. Why is flesh offered? Why not just rice and like pinda now they do? Why not like that? And who is the people? Who are the people who used to offer flesh? Everybody or just some communities? I have no clarity myself. So I don't know exactly. If I read, maybe I will get some relevance, but I don't know the context. And then a man's begetting children in his brother's wife. This looks like what? So this process is called niyoga, and it was done under certain rules. So when the husband cannot beget child in the wife, sometimes the brother, the elder brother, he will beget the child in the brother's wife, but the child is not the elder brother's child. It is considered the husband's child. So he has no bearing over that child, no ownership. This niyogi. So this niyoga process, devarena sutotpatyam. So this was done in a. I read in a I don't know where it is. I came across this. The niyoga, they rub the whole man's and woman's body with ghee, and the man, the brother of the husband, he cannot see the woman naked, so she will be covered. He cannot see her naked, and and then he does, and then immediately after that they separate, so they don't have any more this thing. So Vyasadev did that for Ambika, Ambalika, and the maid servant of Ambika, I think. So in that way, Pandu, Dhritarashtra, and Vidura were born. So that was through Niyoga process. So it was a legitimate process in those days. In Kali Yuga, it is not, because people will come up with different mindset, and unnecessary social problems will happen. So in Kali Yuga, these things are forbidden. This is a quotation from Brahma Vaivarta Puran, Krishna Janma Khanda 185.180. তোমার তোমরা জিয়াইতে নার বধ মাত্র সার নরক হইতে তোমার নাহি কনিস্তার. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continues the argument. Since you Muslims cannot bring killed cows back to life, you are responsible for killing them. Therefore, you are going to hell. There is no way for your deliverance. Now, this is not a Hindu giving a comment on Muslim religion. Oh, how can you? No, this is just fact. This is just fact, logical fact. If the Govardhan and Ashwamedha sacrifices are for bringing the cow back to life, and that is not happening here, and that mantras all cannot be chanted by even Brahmanas of Kali Yuga, what to speak of these Yavanas. So they are killing them, and they're going to hell for that. This rule is for everyone, whether you believe this or whatever you believe. Hell is hell. For all these killings, one has to pay. Okay, it's the same rules for everyone. गोअंगे जतलो मत सहस्रवत्सर गोवधीरौरव मध्ये पचे निरंतर. Cow killers are condemned to rot in hellish life for as many thousands of years as there are hairs on the body of the cow. If there is one hair of the body of the cow, 1,000 years. Now there are thousands and millions of hairs on the body of the cow, and so millions and billions of years they will suffer for one cow. How many cows they are killing? You're not going to see human life in millions and millions and millions of years. It's horrible. It's horrible what they're going to go through. It's out of compassion that they have to be let known these things. It's not a discriminatory some religious rhetoric. No, it is a factual thing. People may not understand, but this is actually the facts. তোমা সবার শাস্ত্রকর্তা সে হো ভ্রান্ত হইল, না জানি শাস্ত্রের মর্ম ঐছে আজ্ঞা দিল. There are many mistakes and illusions in your scriptures. Their compilers, not knowing the essence of knowledge, gave orders that were against reason and argument. You see, with reason, you can prove that this cow killing thing is a wrong thing to do. Because cow is mother, bull is father. So it can be easily proved by logic and reason. But there are orders that are against reason and logic. It's mistakes and illusions. So the arguments are not very well developed in these are called Mlecha Shastras, which are not Vedic Shastras. And they're not very well developed as much as in Vedic Shastras. Hmm. We're not, again, discriminating against them, but this is just the way it is. And at that time, this was a necessity to bring those kind of people to Krishna consciousness. I mean, the Arabian nomads and then the Christian, I mean, the fishermen who Christ dealt with, Jesus dealt with. So the particular community is good for that particular time and that particular people. It was relevant to bring them to God consciousness. শুনি স্তব্ধ হইল কাজী নাহি স্ফুরে বাণী বিচারিয়া কহে কাজী পরাভব মানি. After hearing these statements by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Kazi, his argument stunned, could not put forward any more words. Thus, after due consideration, the Kazi accepted defeat and spoke as follows. Purport. In our practical preaching work, we meet many Christians who talk about statements of the Bible. When we question whether God is limited or unlimited, Christian priests say that God is unlimited. But when we question why the unlimited God should have only one son and not unlimited sons, they are unable to answer. They say actually this, oh, Christ, Jesus is the only way. But then Jesus himself says, I am one of many shepherds. There are so many acharyas who came to guide us. He's just one of them. And when I say he's just one of them, means he's not something ordinary, he's extraordinary. All of them are extraordinary, and he's one of them. It's not that only one. God is not so important that he only can bring out one son. We are all his children. And especially so, he has unlimited souls who come as acharyas on his behalf to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. So, anyway, God should have only one son. If God is unlimited, why should God have only one son and not unlimited sons? And to this question, they're unable to answer. Similarly, from a scientific point of view, the answers of the Old Testament, New Testament, and Quran to many questions have changed. But a Shastra cannot change at a person's whim. All Shastras must be free from the four defects of human nature. The statements of Shastras must be correct for all time. That is the prerequisite. Shastras cannot be, changed whenever we want. But he's saying here, Prabhupada is saying the Old Testament, New Testament, and Quran and Torah, there are so many same things differently mentioned, differently answered. So saying there cannot be, how can there be so many changes like that? তুমি যে কহিলে পণ্ডিত সে সত্য হয়, আধুনিক আমার শাস্ত্র বিচার সহ নয়. So Chand Kazi said this. My dear Nimai Pandit, what you have said is all true. Our scriptures have developed only recently and they are certainly not logical and philosophical. I mean, there is some logic in philosophy, but not to the extent. It's very rudimentary, very, very rudimentary. And if we philosophically examine the texts of the Abrahamic religions and our Vedas, you will find the exquisite, intricate, nature of the logic that we have in our Vedas. Unfortunate, it's so unfortunate that this is not studied nowadays. And people who study also, they are studying it like academic scholars. That's not how you get anything significant from our Vedas. You have to follow the Guru Shishya Sampradaya, bona fide spiritual master. Only then you can actually understand this. It's a very um, specific process to approach these texts, scriptures. Then only can we have the complete knowledge of these scriptures. Otherwise, we will have distorted understanding. Even Hindus all have distorted understanding of the Vedas. Purport: the Shastras of the Yavanas or meat eaters are not eternal scriptures. This is another thing. They come in Kali Yuga. They are not there all the time. Our Sanatana Dharma scriptures are all there all the time. Millions and millions and millions of years, they're always there. The Shastras of the Yavanas or meat eaters are not eternal scriptures. They have been fashioned recently and sometimes they contradict one another. The scriptures of the Yavanas are three: the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Quran. Their compilation has a history. They are not eternal like the Vedic knowledge. Therefore, although they have their arguments and reasonings, they are not very sound and transcendental. As such, modern people advanced in science and philosophy deem these scriptures unacceptable. Sometimes Christian priests come to us inquiring, why are our followers neglecting our scriptures and accepting yours? But when we ask them, your Bible says do not kill, why then are you killing so many animals daily? They cannot answer. Some of them imperfectly answer that the animals have no souls. But then we ask them, how do you know that animals have no souls? Animals and children are of the same nature. Does this mean that children of human society also have no souls? Well, nowadays they treat them like that, especially in the womb. They treat, this is not soul, abort. According to the Vedic scriptures, within the body is the owner of the body, the soul. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.13, it is said, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Because the soul is within the body changes through so many forms. There is a soul within the body of every living creature, whether animal, tree, bird, or human being, and the soul is transmigrating from one type of body to another. When the scriptures of the Yavanas, namely the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran, cannot properly answer inquisitive followers, naturally those advanced in scientific knowledge and philosophy lose faith in such scriptures. The Kazi admitted this while talking with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Kazi was a very intelligent person. He had full knowledge of his position as stated in the following verse. कल्पित आमार शास्त्र आमे सब जानी जाति अनुरोधे तबु से शास्त्र मानी. I know that our scriptures are full of imagination and mistaken ideas, yet because I am a Muslim, I accept them for the sake of my community, despite their insufficient support. This is from his own mouth. I mean, we are not saying it. सहजे जवन शास्त्रे अदृढ़ विचार हासिता है महाप्रभु पूछे न आरवार. The reasoning and arguments in the scriptures of the meat eaters are not very sound, the Kazi concluded. Upon hearing the statement, the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and inquired from him as follows. आरो एक प्रश्न करे सुनो तुम्हें मामा जतार्थ कहिबे छले नावांछिबे आमा. My dear maternal uncle, I wish to ask you another question. Please tell me the truth. Do not try to cheat me with tricks. तोमार नगरे होय सदा संकीर्तन वाद्य गीत कोलाहल संगीत नर्तन. In your city, there is always congregational chanting of the holy name. A tumultuous uproar of music, singing, and dancing is always going on. तुमी काजी हिंदू धर्म विरोधे अधिकारी एबे जेना करो माना बुझिते ना पारी. As a Muslim magistrate, you have the right to oppose the performance of Hindu ceremonies, but now you do not forbid them. I cannot understand the reason why. He is the one who came as Narasimhadev and gave him nice warning. Later you will find out. And then now he's asking, I don't know why you are not stopping now. Almost killed him. কাজী বলে সভে তোমায় বলে গৌর হরি সেই নামে আমি তোমায় সম্বোধন করি. The Kazi said, everyone calls you Gaura Hari, please let me address you by that name. Shuno Gaura Hari ei prashner karan nibhrita hoy jadi tobe kori nivedan. Kindly listen, O Gaura Hari. If you come to a private place, I shall explain the reason. See, he did not want to lose his face after getting nice warning from Narasimhadev. He wanted to come to a private place to explain. প্রভু বলে এ লোক আমার অন্তরঙ্গ হয়, স্ফুট করে কহ তুমি না করিহ ভয়। The Lord replied, all these men are my confidential associates. You can speak frankly. There is no reason to be afraid of them. কাজী কহে যবে আমি হিন্দুর ঘরে গিয়া, কীর্তন করিলুম মানা মৃদঙ্গ ভঙ্গিয়া, সেই রাত্রে এক সিংহ মহাভয়ঙ্কর, নরদেহ সিংহ মুখ গর্জয়ে বিস্তর। The Kazi said, when I went to the Hindu's house, broke the drum, and forbade the performance of congregational chanting, in my dreams that very night, I saw a greatly fearful lion roaring very loudly, his body like a human being's, and his face like a lion's. শয়নে আমার উপর লাফ দিয়া চড়ি, অট্ট অট্ট হাসে করে দন্ত কড়মড়ি। While I was asleep, the lion jumped on my chest, laughing fiercely and gnashing his teeth. মোর বুকে নখ দিয়া ঘোর স্বরে বলে, ফাড়িমু তোমার বুক মৃদঙ্গ বদলে। Placing its nails on my chest, the lion said in a grave voice, I shall immediately bifurcate your chest as you broke the mridanga drum. মোর কীর্তন মানা করিস করিমু তোর ক্ষয়, আঁখি মুদি কাম্পি আমি পাইয়া বড় ভয়। You have forbidden the performance of my congregational chanting. Therefore, I must destroy you. Being very much afraid of him, I closed my eyes and trembled. So this is what the Kazi is saying, you see. ভীত দেখি সিংহ বলে হয় আসাদয়, তোরে শিক্ষা দিতে কইল তোর পরাজয়। Seeing me so afraid, the lion said, I have defeated you just to teach you a lesson, but I must be merciful to you. See, Narasimhadev being merciful. সেই দিন বহুত নাহি কইলি উৎপাত, তেই ক্ষমা করি না করিনু প্রাণাঘাত। On that day you did not create a very great disturbance. Therefore I have excused you and not taken your life. ঐচ্ছে যদি পুন করো তবে না সহিমু, সবম সে তোমার মারি জবন নাশিমু। But if you perform such activities again, I shall not be tolerant. At that time I shall kill you, your entire family, and all the meat eaters. I shall kill everyone. এটা কহি সিংহ গেল আমার হইল ভয়, এই দেখো নখ চিহ্ন আমার হৃদয়। After saying this, the lion left, but I was very much afraid of him. Just see the marks of his nails on my heart. And he showed, his... এটা বলি কাজী নিজ বুক দেখাইল, শুনি দেখি সর্বলোক আশ্চর্য মানিল। After this description, the Kazi showed his chest. Having heard him and seen the marks, all the people there accepted the wonderful incident. See, I want to say something, but let's read on a little more. Kaji kohe iha ami kare na kahilo, সেই দিন আমার এক পিয়াদা আইলো। The Kazi continued, I did not speak to anyone about this incident, but on that very day, one of my orderlies came to see me. Orderlies means, like deputy, not deputy, soldier, constable. আসি কহে গেলুম মুই কীর্তন নিষেধিতে, অগ্নি উল্কা মোর মুখে লাগে আচম্বিতে। After coming to me, the orderly said, when I went to stop the congregational chanting, suddenly flames struck my face. So they told this to Kazi. So Kazi is narrating what the Muslim constables came back and told him. After he experienced a Narasimhadev dream, these constables also came back one by one and telling all these stories. Like, I tried to stop their chanting and then my beard was on fire. পুড়িল সকল দাড়ি মুখে হইল ব্রণ, যে পেয়াদা যায় তার এই বিবরণ। My beard was burned and there were blisters on my cheeks. Every orderly who went gave the same description. তাহা দেখি রহিন মুই মহা ভয়ে পায়া কীর্তন না বর্জ্য ঘরে রহত বসিয়া. After seeing this, I was very much afraid. I asked them not to stop the congregational chanting but to go sit down at home. তবে তো নগরে হইবে স্বচ্ছন্দে কীর্তন শুনি সব ম্লেচ্ছ আসি কইল নিবেদন. Then all the meat eaters, hearing that there would be unrestricted congregational chanting in the city, came to submit a petition. নগরে হিন্দুর ধর্ম বাড়িল অপার হরি হরি ধ্বনি বই নাহি শুনিয়ার. The religion of the Hindus has increased unlimitedly. There are always vibrations of Hari Hari. We do not hear anything but this. आरुम्लेच्छ कहे हिंदू कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले हासे कांदे नाचे गाए गड़ी जाए धूली. One meditator said, the Hindus say Krishna Krishna and they laugh, cry, dance, chant and fall on the ground smearing their bodies with dirt. Hari Hari kori Hindu kore kolahal पात साहा सुनिले तोमार करिबे कफल. Vibrating Hari Hari, the Hindus make a tumultuous sound. If the king, Patshaha, hears it, certainly he will punish you. Patshaha refers to the king, Nawab Hussain Shah, whose full name was Alauddin Syed Hussain Shah. You see? We know him as Nawab Hussain Shah, but actually his full name is Alauddin Syed Hussain Shah. Was at the time, 1498 to 1521, independent king of Bengal. Formerly, he was the servant of the cruel Nawab of the Habsi dynasty named Muzaffar Khan. You see how the spelling is written. Actually, it's Muzaffar Khan. So you see some interesting information about the Nawab is also given. He was a servant of the Nawab of the Habsi dynasty named Muzaffar Khan, but somehow or other he assassinated his master and became the king. So that master Muzaffar Khan also was very cruel. And this Nawab Hussain Shah, who's Alauddin, what is his name? Alauddin Syed Hussain Shah, he assassinated Muzaffar Khan. I mean, even Aurangzeb, he imprisoned his father and killed all his brothers and became king. Very, very low class behavior. Absolutely low class. These are the kind of people who are the kings. I mean, relatively, if we think about it, we are in much more peaceful times at this point. Not exactly, but overtly, it looks peaceful. Covertly, no. Because so many children are dying, abortion. It's a full genocide every year, but no attention is given to that. It's horrible. But it's not exactly on religious grounds or anything. It's just people are doing it in the name of health and all that. Okay, anyway. Formerly, he was the servant of the cruel Nawab of the Habsi dynasty named Muzaffar Khan, but somehow or other he assassinated his master and became the king. After gaining the throne of Bengal, technically called Masnad, he declared himself Syed Hussain Alauddin Sharif Makkah. Makkah. There is a book called Riyaz-us-Salatin, whose author Ghulam Hussain says that Nawab Hussain Shah belonged to the family of Makkah Sharif. To keep his family's glory, he took the name Sharif Makkah. Generally, however, he is known as Nawab Hussain Shah. Oh, it's interesting. You see, what is the book called? Riyaz-us-Salatin. That is a book. Generally, however, he is known as Nawab Hussain Shah. After his death, his eldest son, Nasrat Shah, became king of Bengal, 1521 to 1533 AD, 12 years. This king also was very cruel. He committed many atrocities against the Vaishnavas. Wow. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left in 1534. So during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, committed many atrocities against the Vaishnavas. As a result of his sinful activities, one of his servants from the Khoja group killed him while he was praying in the mosque. Look at him. You know, their lives are like so horrible. They did horrible things and they got horrible reactions for that. But you see, it's interesting that all this history is still preserved, and even the book is quoted, Riyazus Salatin. So, yeah, I think if we can somehow get our hand on such that book, maybe it's good to have a record of it. So, yeah, I mean, this is, you see, he was killed while he was praying in the mosque. Wow. তবে সেই যবনেরে আমি তো পুছিল হিন্দু হরি বলে তার স্বভাব জানিল. I then inquired from these Yavanas. I know that these Hindus by nature chant Hari Hari. তুমি তো যবন হইয়া কেন অনুক্ষণ হিন্দুর দেবতার নাম লোহ কি কারণ. The Hindus chant the name Hari because that is the name of their god. But you are Muslim meat eaters. Why do you chant the name of a Hindu's god? ম্লেচ্ছ কহে হিন্দুরে আমি করি পরিহাস কেহ কেহ কৃষ্ণদাস কেহ রামদাস. The meat eater replied, sometimes I joke with the Hindus. Some of them are called Krishnadas or some are called Ramdas. কেহ হরিদাস সদা বলে হরি হরি জানি কার ঘরে ধন করিবে কচুরি. Some of them are called Haridas. They always chant Hari Hari, and thus I thought they would steal the riches from someone's house. Purport. Another meaning of Hari Hari is I am stealing, I am stealing. So, because they say Hari Hari, oh, you are stealing. He used to joke with them. This Muslim man he used to joke with the Hindus. সে হইতে জিহ্বা মোর বলে হরি হরি ইচ্ছা নাহি তবু বলে কি উপায় করি. Since that time my tongue always vibrates the sound Hari Hari. I have no desire to say it, but still my tongue says it. I do not know what to do. I am hooked. So of course there's verses for this. साङ्केत्यं पारिहास्यं वा स्तोभं हेलनमेव वा वैकुण्ठनामग्रहणम् अशेषाघहरं विदुः. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. So, in this way, there are other verses also similarly. But the point is this, even if it is chanted without, I mean, even jokingly, like this Muslim man was doing, he got hooked after that. His paap will be, his sinful reaction will be nullified. Purport. Sometimes demoniac non-believers, not understanding the potency of the holy name, make fun of the Vaishnavas when the Vaishnavas chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This joking is also beneficial for such persons. Srimad Bhagavatam 6 to 14, just now I showed that, indicates that the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even in joking, in the course of ordinary discussion, in indicating something else, something extraneous, or in negligence, is called namabhas, which is chanting that is almost on the transcendental stage. This namabhas stage is better than namaparad. Namabhas awakens the supreme remembrance of Lord Vishnu. When one remembers Lord Vishnu, he becomes free from material enjoyment. Thus, he gradually comes forward toward the transcendental service of the Lord and becomes eligible to chant the holy name of the Lord in the transcendental position. আর ম্লেচ্ছ কহে শুনো আমি তো এই মতে হিন্দুকে পরিহাস কইন সেই দিন হইতে জিহ্বা কৃষ্ণ নাম করে না মানে বর্জন না জানে কি মন্ত্রৌষধি জানে হিন্দুগণ. This is important, interesting verse. Okay, let's see. Another meat eater said, sir, please hear me. Since the day I joked with some Hindus in this way, my tongue chants the Hare Krishna hymn and cannot give it up. I do not know what mystic hymns and herbal potions these Hindus know. Now you see, you look at how he is thinking about it. Oh, they've done some magic. These people know some special potions, some special chemicals or some herbal potions which make people hooked, and they know some special mantras. And this is one thing. And also the Narsimhadev incident of Chand Kazi and the beards burning of the Muslims. These incidences, the Muslims, when they invaded India, the Mughals, when they did all these things, they were getting reactions like this everywhere. So they knew that there was some power. Recently, I saw a video where apparently in Maharashtra, I forget the name of the place, okay, there was a Hindu temple, and as usual, the Muslims demolished it and built a mosque. Now, in the courtyard of the Hindu temple, there was this pond, and people used to go there to take Hindus when it was under them. They used to go to the pond, and if a woman did not get child, then she takes bath in that pond, and then after that she will have a child. So then these Muslims, they went and demolished and constructed a mosque, but the pond was still there. And they heard the stories that women got this thing pregnancy after bathing in the pond. And now Muslim women go and bathe in the pond and all that. After that, they also got children. So some historian, modern historian, he was explaining this thing, this incident in Maharashtra still is going on, that mosque. So they have more faith in the power of our religion, our deities, our religious practices, and all this. The mystic, they have the faith in the mystic potency of these processes and the deities. But the Hindus themselves don't have such a veneration and reverence and belief, faith. They have become, oh, I'm secular, I'm more logical, I'm not superstitious, and all that. This is not the superstition, you know. These are there. Some things are there like this. Like that, there are so many examples where Hindus, I mean the Muslims, they have more faith in the power of these mantras and these things, that they don't dare go beyond a certain this thing. Of course, some are horrible. You see, that's why you see the Vaishnavas. This who just now we have heard that one Muslim man, he was killed while praying in the mosque. These things, these reactions happened to them for all their atrocities that they committed towards the Hindus at the time. It's not that they only dominated and had a fun time, but they also died horribly. They got their dues. Of course, after this they will suffer a lot in the next life and all that. But in a negative way, I mean, having faced the reaction, they have certain fear. So although there are these ideological leaders of the Muslim community in India, and the Wahhabis, the jihad, the concept of jihad was started by the one section of the Wahhabi Muslims, the more fanatic ones. So these all were there, but the people in general, they were afraid to go beyond a certain point. I will not go beyond this because I know something will happen if I do something more than this. So these kind of faith out of fear, they had. And sometimes they even took advantage, like this pond I talked about, the kunda, and in the temple courtyard. Now it's a mosque courtyard. So these kind of things are going on. See? And here also the same thing. He had a Narsimhadev experience, and the men, their beards were burnt. This Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces. You know what happened? Whoever beat, all their entire villages were deserted by famine or by big flood or something. Everyone was killed. Their entire families were wiped out of the surface of the earth. Not ordinary. I mean, whenever they did anything like this, they got the reaction very bad. Very bad. Of course, Hindus also died in that war. I mean, when they fought, they killed so many, slaughtered so many Brahmanas and everything. Horribly. And they also got it very bad. Muslims, those who did all these things. And then here you see, even the point that they got hooked to the holy name, they think, oh, see what mystic hymns and herbal potions these Hindus create. You see, this is how they think. They have faith in some. Of course, it became sometimes superstition. It's not about herbal potion. It's just the power of the holy name. But They have this kind of faith, in some way. Eto shune tasa bhare ghore pathaila, heno kale pashande Hindu pancha sat aila. Now see, heroes. After the Muslims finished their thing, now Hindus. After hearing all this, I sent all the mlechas back to their homes. 5 or 7 non-believing Hindus then approached me. Non-believing Hindus. Pashandi Hindu, Panch Sat Ailo. Um, so 5 to 7 people came. Purport. The word Pashandi refers to non-believers engaged in fruitive activities and to idolatrous worshippers of many demigods. Pashandis do not believe in one God, the Supreme Personality, Lord Vishnu. They think that all the demigods have the same potency as He. The definition of a Pashandi is given in the Tantra Shastra. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahmarudradi Daivatehi Samatvena Eva Viksheta Sa Pashandi Bhavidhruvam. I just quoted a while ago this thing. A Pashandi is one who considers the great demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. This is from where? Hari Bhakti Vilas 117. Now, in Islam, they call them what? In Christianity, they call them heathens. And those who don't accept Christianity, they are heathens. And in Muslim, they are called, if anybody knows the name, please let me know. What is the word they use? How come I forgot? Muslims, those who are non-believers, unbelievers. Um, so, okay, I'll wait for the comment section to help me with this. Kafir, yes, thank you. Kafir. Kafir and heathens. So, here we have a word for them also, who don't believe one God, Vishnu. Pashandi. And this refers to even Hindus who accept that there are many gods. The plurality, or they say our religion is founded on plurality. I watched a video of a modern day Hindu reformer. He said, if the Mughals, the Muslims, did not invade this country and the Hindus and demolish 40,000 over temples, if they were more friendly, the Hindus would have accommodated their religion into Hinduism as well. They are so accommodating that they would have accommodated they would have found a way to accommodate Islam and Christianity also into the Hinduism. Just like they adopted Jain and Buddhist and Sikh as part of Hindu faith, kind of Hindustan faith, the faiths that originated in this land, and they live in peace with them and like that. They would have also accepted and incorporated Islam and Christianity also into Hinduism, provided they were more peaceful in their means. He commented like that. This is such a mistaken idea of our religion. This is the thing. Nowadays, Hinduism has become like this. Oh, some Sai Baba comes, put him inside. Or something comes, put him inside. Some Baba comes, put him inside. Lizard, put him inside. Rat also put him inside. When are you going to stop? So, this is not our Sanatan Dharma. This is some complete rubbish. It's not plural, it's not anything. Krishna is always Supreme Personality of Godhead and everybody else is his servant. That is clearly stated in all our Shastras. People don't read Shastras. That is the biggest problem people have. And even if they read some false interpretations without any Guru Shishya Parampara, without any authorized Sampradaya. How you will get any knowledge like that? You cannot get. So, Pashandi, who believe that there are many gods, they are called Pashandi. Pashandi Hindus. Here, the word is used Pashandi Hindus. Non-believing Hindus. Non-believing Hindus. And nowadays, even Hindus, there are another guy who is a Hindu reformer. He says, I am Nastik. I am a atheist. And yet I am Hindu. Because Hindu is so accommodating that even atheists are accommodated. Just like Charvak Muni. They always quote Charvak Muni. But Charvak Muni is not a Sanatan Dharma Vadi at all. He was there, he was Muni, he had his own philosophy, it was stupid philosophy, and He is sometimes quoted to show the foolishness of such philosophy. Never was he considered one of the great sages who was, on par with such great sages as Narad Muni. No, Charvak Muni and Narad Muni from worlds apart. So you cannot equate them all. Oh, all are Munis. No, Muni means philosopher. That's all. That's all it is. He was a philosopher. He had his own stupid philosophy, atheistic philosophy. That doesn't mean that Muni is a big Muni as good as Narad Muni. No, he's not. Continuing to read, purport from Ādi 17.121-226. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Asamurdhva. In other words, no one can be equal to or greater than him. But Parshandis do not believe this. They worship any kind of demigod, thinking it all right to accept whomever they please as the Supreme Lord. The Parshandis were against the Hare Krishna movement of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and now we see practically that they also do not like our humble attempts to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. You see, these Smartha Brahmins, so-called Pashandi Brahmins, Pashandi Hindus, they do not like our humble attempts to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. I have seen recently. I just went to India. I have seen within my own family circle such Pashandi Hindus. So, who absolutely hate what we do. So these are and so-called Brahmins. They are namesake, simply namesake Brahmin. They don't know anything. They don't even know the purpose of the Vedas at all, and they talk as if they're the topmost status of Brahmanas, and we are all like some pariahs, all rascals. On the contrary, these Pashandis say that we are spoiling the Hindu religion. You see, this is exactly what the people I know also say. You see, these Pashandis say that we are spoiling the Hindu religion because people all over the world are accepting Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the version of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Instead, they say, "Oh, don't bring this as it is version. That is your interpretation, Hare Krishna version of it. Hey, there is only one version. All the others who are written are rascals, useless. That is useless." Anyway, the Pashandis condemn this movement and sometimes they accuse Vaishnavas from foreign countries of being not bona fide. Classic. This is the what I'm reading is the condition of the people I met in India. Some of them, not all. Some of them are nice. Some of them are rascals, exactly like this. Exactly the same things they will say. Hmm? Even so-called Vaishnavas, pseudo followers of the Vaishnava cult, do not agree with our activities in making Vaishnavas in the Western countries. Such Pashandis existed even during the time of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they continue to exist. Despite all the activities of these Pashandis, however, the prediction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will triumph. What is that? पृथ्वीत्याच जत नगरादि ग्राम सर्वत्र प्रचार होइबे मोर नाम. In every town and village, the chanting of my name will be heard. No one can undo that. These rascals may bark like dogs, but the caravan of the Sankirtan movement will pass. And we have to be serious in pushing on this movement, not caring for the idiots who come about and bark like dogs. We don't care. We don't care a fig for them. In every town and village, the chanting of my name will be heard. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antyakhanda 4.126. No one can check the spread of the Krishna consciousness movement because upon this movement is the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To have that much faith, and he has actually gone to the West and made it happen. Prabhupada is not, whoever thinks Prabhupada is ordinary, absolute offenders. Absolute offenders. They don't know anything. आशी कहे हिंदुर धर्म भागिलो निमाय जय कीर्तन प्रवर्तायलो कभु सुनि नाय. Now Hindus complaining. Muslims complain finished. Oh, everywhere everybody is chanting. Okay. Now Hindus complaining. You see these Hindus. This is the reason why the Muslims came and invaded. Krishna arranged this thing because all the rascal Hindus were like this. They were not interested at all. Advaita Acharya was very, very sorry for the state of Sanatana Dharma. When he came down to see, wow, this is horrible. People are so materialistic. You know, So he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, only you have to come. Only you can do. And he asked Krishna, please you come. Otherwise, there's no chance for deliverance for them. So then Kazi is saying, coming to me, the Hindus complain, Nimai Pandit has broken the Hindu religious principles. He has introduced the Sankirtan system, which we never heard from any scripture. See, or so-called Brahmins, rascals. मंगल चंडी विषहरे करि जागरण ताते वाद्य नृत्य गीत योग्य आचरण. You see, they are saying that the singing, dancing, and all these things are only suitable for when you do jagaran, like overnight you stay awake during Shivaratri and Mangal Chandi, this Chandi, Durga Devi, Durga Puja. So they're saying when we keep a night-long vigil to observe religious performances for the worship of Mangal Chandi and Vishahari, playing on musical instruments, dancing and chanting are certainly fitting customs. At that time, okay, it is to be done. পূর্বে ভালো ছিল এই নিমাই পণ্ডিত গয়া হইতে আসিয়া চালায় বিপরীত. Nimai Pandit was previously a very good boy, but since he has returned from Gaya, he conducts himself differently. Basically, they are saying गया से आया और गया काम से. Yeah. So he's gone. He went to Gaya, and Gaya in Hindi means gone. For those who do not know, if there are any foreigners, non-Indians. So Gaya means gone. So he went to Vishnu Gaya, and after that he's Gaya. He's gone. He's become mad. So this is what they're saying. उच्च करे गाई गीत देय कर ताली मृदंग करताल शब्द करने लागे ताली. Now he loudly sings all kinds of songs, claps and plays drums and hand cymbals and making a tumultuous sound that deafens our ears. ना जाने की खाया मत हाया नाचे गाए हासे कांदे पड़े उठे गड़ी गड़ा गड़ी जाए. We do not know what he eats that makes him mad, dancing, singing, sometimes laughing, crying, falling down, jumping up, and rolling on the ground. What he's eating? They are suspecting he's eating some drugs or something, some ganja or what. नगरी जाके पागल कोयलो सदा संकीर्तन रात्रे निद्रा नाही जाए करी जागरण. He has made all the people practically mad by always performing congregational chanting. At night we cannot get any sleep. We are always kept awake. निमाय नाम छाड़िए वे बोलाय गौर हरे हिंदुर धर्म नष्ट कोइलो पाषंड संचारी. See what they're saying. Now he has given up his own name Nimai and introduced himself as by the name Gaurahari. He has spoiled the Hindu religious principles and introduced the irreligion of non-believers. কৃষ্ণের কীর্তন করে নীচ বাড় বাড় এই পাপে নবদ্বীপে হইবে উজাড়. Now the lower classes are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra again and again. For this sinful activity, the entire city of Navadvip will become deserted. That means there will be a huge famine here because of this pap. So you will also suffer. Hey, you Muslims, chant Kazi, you will also suffer. By his religion. Now all the lower class people are chanting Hare Krishna. हिंदू शास्त्रे ईश्वर नाम महामंत्र जानी सर्वलोक सुनीले मंत्र वीर्य होय हानि. Rascal, you see what he's saying. According to Hindu scripture, God's name is the most powerful hymn. Okay, most powerful. Okay. If everyone hears the chanting of the name, the potence of the hymn will be lost. What happened to the most powerful hymn? If everyone hears it, the potence of the hymn will be lost. You see, this is the level of these Hindu Brahmanas who are complaining to Kazi. If it is most powerful hymn, it should make everybody powerful just by chanting. But the name will be spoiled, it seems. Look at this idiot. And you know what? Chaitanya Bhagavat has more information. There they say, oh, this Chaturmasya Vishnu is sleep. Chaturmasya, Vishnu is sleeping. But these people are chanting so loudly that Vishnu will, awaken and will become angry and he will cause famine. You see this Nimai is doing. How foolish this person is. This is how they complain. If this is the standard of Brahmanas that were there, why there will be no Mughal invasion or any invasion after that? Huh? Purport. In the list of offenses in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, it is said, Dharma vrata tyaga hutadi sarva shubhakriya samyam api pramadaha. To consider the chanting of the holy name of the Lord equal to the execution of some auspicious religious ceremony is an offense. According to the materialistic point of view, observing a religious ceremony invokes an auspicious atmosphere for the material benefit of the entire world. Materialists therefore manufacture religious principles to live comfortably and without disturbance in executing their material activities. Since they do not believe in the existence of God, they have manufactured the idea that God is impersonal and that to have some conception of God, one may imagine any form. You see, this is the modern Hindus are exactly like this. Even the modern Hindu reformers are like this. They call, instead of calling temples, they call sacred spaces. What? Can't you call it a temple? Mandir? They don't accept the personality of the deity. They think it is some impersonal, which has come in a shape and in a deity shape, which we can offer something, we can interact with that infinite power. Very vague. It is person. They don't even know how this whole thing works. Anyway, thus they respect the many forms of the demigods as different representations or manifestations of the Lord. They are called Bahvishwaravadis, or followers of thousands and thousands of gods. Bahvishwaravadis. Bahu Ishwaravadis. Many God. The arguers who put forward the theory of many gods. They consider the chanting of the names of the demigods an auspicious activity. Great so-called Swamis have written books saying that one may chant any name, Durga, Kali, Shiva, Krishna, Rama, and so on, because any name is all right for invoking an auspicious atmosphere in society. Thus, they are called Pashandis, unbelievers or faithless demons. Mind you, they are respecting Ram, Krishna, Durga. So they have respect for even Krishna in that way. But they equate, and even then they are called Pashandis, unbelievers or faithless demons. And these are the so-called Hindutva reformers of today, and they're giving big talks here and there about reforming our Hinduism. And look at this statement here. They will say, "Oh, we are all Abrahamic Hindus." They will say like this. "Oh, you're almost like Muslims only, saying there only one. There's no other." We are not saying. Our Shastra is saying. You're not reading Shastra, and therefore you're talking nonsense. So this is our challenge to them. Such Pashandis do not know the actual value of the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna. You see, this is true. They do not know the actual value of chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. They say sometimes Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna, just to invoke some Hindu fervor, but not with devotion to Ram. And they don't even understand Ram. And they equate him to Shiva, to Durga, to Ganesh, and everything. This is Pashandi, faithless demon, even though he may take the name of Ram. Such Pashandis do not know the actual value of the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna. Foolishly proud of their material birth as Brahmanas and their consequently higher position in the social order, they think of the other classes, namely the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, as lower classes. According to them, no one but the Brahmanas can chant the holy name of Krishna. For if others chanted the holy name, its potency would be reduced. We went to or an ironic incident that was. So in 2009, we went to South India tour. Okay, so we went to this temple, very famous temple, Varadaraj Perumal temple in Tamil Nadu. That deity is so famous. Ramanujacharya's disciple was blinded because he was attacked by the Cholas and because they are Shaivites. and there was a big thing. Always the Chaivites, they used to persecute the Vaishnavas, and you know they made him blind. Okay, he was blind, and Varadaraj Perumal, he gave eyes to that disciple, and he regained his vision. Such powerful is the Lord, the deity, and especially with the pure devotees, he will interact like that. Now we went, okay, so we went with a camera, trying to take a photo. You know what the Brahmin was saying? Hey, cannot take photo. The deity will lose power. Arey, the deity gave eyes to the person to see. And here we are taking a photo, the deity will lose power. The deity is so poor. I mean, we don't lose power if somebody takes our photo. And the deity is losing power. And he is a pujari there. Arey, you are pujari. We were like disgusted. You are pujari in this temple, and this is what you are saying. Deity will lose power. Same thing, you see these brahmanas here? What rascal nonsense they're talking. Holy name is so powerful, but if everybody chants, potency will be reduced. They are unaware of the potency of Lord Krishna's name. The Brahan Naradiya Puran recommends Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam, Kalau nastyeva gatiranyatha. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative, no alternative, no alternative to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. The Pashandis do not accept that the potency of the holy name of Krishna is so great that one can be delivered simply by chanting the holy name, although this is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.351. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Rajet. Any man from any part of the world who practices chanting of the holy name of Krishna can be liberated and after death go back home, back to Godhead. The rascal Pashandis think that if anyone but a Brahmana chants the holy name, the potency of the holy name is vanquished. According to their judgment, instead of delivering the fallen souls, the potency of the holy name is reduced. Believing in the existence of many gods and considering the chanting of the holy name of Krishna no better than other hymns, these Pashandis do not believe in the words of the Shastras. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nama eva keval. Let me tell you, some of these people think that you are reducing the value of the holy name by just chanting it on the streets. Sometimes what they say, the Lord is respected and revered in a magnificent temple. That is the honor given to the Lord. By taking his name onto the streets, you are bringing our religion to the streets. Like we say, our religion has gone to the drain or to the dogs or like that. You are taking it to the dogs. The great holy name of Krishna, you are putting it out on the street. There was another video actually where the devotees, ISKCON devotees, they were selling books on the street. I think you might have seen. And they were distributing Bhagavad Gitas, on the streets, brahmacharis. And this car, he's a vlogger. Okay, he wants to show how these ISKCON people are cheapening our religion. Kind of reducing its importance and making it a very cheap religion, cheapskate religion. Why? What is his idea? He went. He said, "Okay, you see." He switched on his camera. You see this? He was driving and he put his camera. You see these people on the road? They are blocking the cars and selling the books. Then he stops there, and then the devotees are trying to asking him to purchase a book, and they nicely told him and everything. But he was just there to find a fault. So after that, he came back to his home and then gave a commentary on it. And he said, "You see, our Bhagavad Gita is such a great book, and they're just distributing it on street as if it's like some chaat bhandar, some bhel puri or pani puri like that. They're selling it on the streets. Cheap. How what is that? Ill repute. Our reputation of our religion is going down. It went to the streets now. This is what these people are doing." Like that, he was saying in the video. This is what they have, their idea. If we chant on the streets, they think that we are bringing God's name to the street, like a street dog. Like that. So this is their idea of, whereas every single place should be vibrating the holy name of Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sang the holy name of Krishna through Jharkhand forest as well. So what? He made it into wild animal, is it? The holy name. So, what are they saying? So, everywhere one should chant. So, they have lost the plot completely. They've completely lost the idea of what is religion at all. And these are the uh, ridiculous conclusions they're coming to. Ridiculous. It's complete asinine, asininity. Okay, so but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms in his Shikshashtaka, Kirtaniya Sadahari. See, this is our thing. Kirtaniya Sadahari. One must chant the holy name always, 24 hours a day. What? Satatam Kirtayantu Mam, Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. That means what? They only sit in temple and chant, is it? You, you mean Narad Muni stays in temple and chants? Is that so? Narad Muni goes everywhere, Narayan, Narayan is saying. What is that? Or in our Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Radhika Raman, Radhika Raman. He's going there everywhere and chanting the holy name of Krishna all over the universe. To hell also he's going. That means what? You have brought Krishna to hell. Is that what it means? Krishna is everywhere. He is in hell actually. Krishna is in hell. Because he's in every single atom. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham. He's in hell, he's in heaven, he's on earth, he's everywhere. And by glorifying him, then, Krishna says, Naham tisthami vaikunthe, Naham yoginam hridayeshuva, yatra gayanti madbhakta, tatra tisthami narada. Narayan is saying to Narad Muni, I am not in the temples, I am not in Vaikuntha, I am not in the hearts of the yogis. I am there where my devotees are chanting my name. Krishna appears there. So, Krishna, Narsimadev Bhagwan, okay, he came out from the pillar of a palace, of a demon. That means what? Oh, he came from a demon's pillar. No. He's God. And then after that, he sat on the throne of Hiranyakashipu, which was already used by Hiranyakashipu for his nefarious activities. He sat on the throne. The Lord can do anything. And he garlanded himself with the intestines of Hiranyakashipu. What is that? Fresh flower garlands must be offered. What is it? Demon's intestines? And intestines will gone. I mean, very horrible. And demon's intestines, what is this? Antrasrajaha. Kshatajake Sharashanku Karnan. Nirhrad Bhiti Digibhad Aribhinna Khagrat. This verse. You see. Naham bibhemyajitate bhayanakasya jihvarkanetra bhrukutirabhasogradam shtrat antrasrajah kshatajake sharashankukarnan nirhrad bhita digibhadaribhinna khagrat. Antrasrajah means what? Garlanded by intestines. Kshatajake. Bloody mane. The mane of the hair of the Lord is all full of blood of Hiranyakashipu and all the demons that he killed. Antrasrajah means garlanded by intestines. So here Prahlad Maharaj says, My dear Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. Like the lion cub is not afraid of the lion. Every other animal is. Like that, a devotee is not afraid of Narasimhadev's features. So, Narasimhadev accepted all these things. I mean, so did Narasimhadev's reputation go down because he put the Antrasraja of Hiranyakashipu, or sat on the throne, or came out from his palace's pillar? Must understand one thing. The palace belongs to Narasimhadev, not Hiranyakashipu. Who is this Hiranyakashipu? Owner. What is that? Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is saying, I am the owner of all planets. Which rascal comes and says, dares to say that it is mine? I'll kick him out. And that's what he did. He kicked Hiranyakashipu out and sat on the throne. This is my throne, not yours. You know, that is I am the boss. That's what Narasimhadev is saying. So everything is belonging to the Lord. The Lord only gives us as a occupancy, tenancy only. Oh, you stay here for a few years. After that, you get lost. Yeah. So we are here only on the mercy of the Lord. Never anything is ours. Hmm. So Lord Narasimhadev's fierce appearance was certainly most dangerous for the non-devotees, but for Prahlad Maharaj, such a fearful appearance was not at all disturbing. So anyway, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms in his six Shastra Kirtaniya Sadahari, one must chant the holy name of the Lord always, 24 hours a day. The Pashandis, however, are so fallen and falsely proud of having taken birth in Brahmana families that they think that instead of delivering all the fallen souls, the holy name becomes impotent when constantly chanted by lower class men. That just shows their lack of faith in the holy name itself. Hmm? Significant in verse 211, I mean the previous verse, are the words Krishner Kirtan Kore Nicha Badvad, indicating that anyone can join in the Sankirtan movement. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18. किरातहोणान्ध किरातहोणान्ध्र पुलिंद पुल्कषा आभीरशुंभा यवनाखसादयः येन्ये च पापा यदपाश्रयाश्रयाः शुद्धन्ति तस्मै प्रभविष्णवे नमः. This is a list of the names of Chandalas. The Pashandis say that when these lower class men are allowed to chant, their influence is enhanced. Their influence, I mean, the Pashandis' influence are enhanced. So you see, this is what the Pashandis say that when these lower class men are allowed to chant, their influence is enhanced. They do not like the idea that others should also develop spiritual qualities, because this would curb their false pride in having taken birth in families of the elevated Brahmana caste with a monopoly on spiritual activities. But despite all protests from so-called Hindus and members of the Brahmana caste, we are propagating the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world according to the injunctions of the Shastras and the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, we are sure that we are delivering many fallen souls, making them bona fide candidates for going back home, back to Godhead. And if we see this verse, Aho batashvapachoto gariyan yajjihvagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapaste juhuvuhu sasnurarya brahmano churnama grinanti yete. Oh, how glorious are those whose tongues are chanting your holy name, even if born in the families of dog eaters. Okay? Such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So, quite the opposite. When they chant, not that the holy name becomes important, but they become so potent that they immediately surpass even the Brahmanas and everything. They achieve all the results of having gone to all the places of pilgrimage, having studied all the Vedas, worshipped all the deities, and bathed in all the holy rivers, and they get all the good qualities of the Aryans. Everything, that verse 5:18:12. Yeah. यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्य किंचना सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा मनोरथेन सति धावतो बहिः. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So it's opposite. Those who chant Hare Krishna and they get all the good qualities, and these people they become petty, miserable, and always bickering, on the um, about the Vaishnavas, and that's all they have in their life to do, nothing else. Hmm. So next. গ্রামের ঠাকুর তুমি সব তোমার জন নিমায় বলাইয়া তারে করহ বর্জন. Then the Hindus, Pandits, so-called Pandits, they continued. Pashandi Brahmanas. Sir, you are the ruler of this town. Whether Hindu or Muslim, everyone is under your protection. Therefore, please call Nimai Pandit and make him leave the town. Look at these Hindu fellows, so brainless. Already they are in a hopeless condition where a Muslim man is already ruling them, taken all their temples and destroyed them and sitting there, having built their mosques and built their governments, and now our Hindu guy is asking the Nimai Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to leave, make the Muslim man to make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leave. Look at these Hindus guys. Now you understand why these things happened. Medieval India, it was not like, oh, Hindus are all so pure and then suddenly they were pure and innocent and suddenly they were all overpowered and you know no. Why things will happen without any consequence, without any reason. We're not saying that, oh, what the invaders did was all right, not at all. But we should also, instead, we should not just blame them only. um, we have blame to take. Actually, the starting is here. We have, you know when deities break, when deities cry, that is actually not that the Lord has broken, the Lord is crying. No, it is a sign to teach us that the Lord is not happy with us. The Lord is not happy with us. So, when the deities, all got broken like that, temples were all demolished, the Lord is somewhere not pleased. And let me show you something. Where is it? Um, I don't know if this is the. Hmm. You see, 7:14:39. My dear king, when great sages and saintly persons saw mutually disrespectful dealings at the beginning of Treta Yuga, deity worship in the temple was introduced with all paraphernalia. So this is now 40. Next one, I think. You see this. ततोर्चायां हरिं केचित् संश्रद्धाय सपर्यया उपासत उपास्तापे नार्थदा पुरुषद्विषाम्. Sometimes a neophyte devotee offers all the paraphernalia for worshipping the Lord. Okay? And he factually worships the Lord as the deity. But because he is envious of the authorized devotees of Lord Vishnu, the Lord is never satisfied with his devotional service. And if he is sufficiently not satisfied, the deity may go away. You see, you can see what happened in the case of Jarabharat. He was taken by these, you know, uh, tribal people, and then they wanted to offer him, sacrifices him to the goddess Kali. What happened? Goddess Kali got so angry that she burst out. The deity broke into pieces, and she personally came down to kill all the demons. Of course, in that case, it was Jarabharat, and but you see, the deity broke. So she was not happy, angry. So it looks like, okay, the Muslims have broken the deities and all that, but actually the Lord doesn't want to be there for some reason. He was disgusted with what was going on, probably. Otherwise, why the Lord would do that? Why would the Lord would allow somebody to touch him? Hmm. See, we have to understand one thing. The Lord has come for our to bless us. The Lord has come in the form of the deity in order to bless us. and he can leave the deity at any time, and make it just a stone. Okay, so we have to always realize that and be very respectful of the Vaishnavas as well. You see here, there's a classic example. They may have even worshipped very faithfully the deity, but you see these Hindu guys, these Pashandi so-called, they might have very faithfully worshipped the deity. But Nimai Pandit, who was actually the deity himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But of course, they thought him as some devotee, some Hindu fanatic, and they were against him, and they were against the Vaishnava way of doing things. I mean, the Vaishnava dharma. See, what is that? Madbhakta Puja Bhyatika. Service or worship of Vaishnavas is higher than worship of Krishna, and aparad to Vaishnavas is greater aparad than aparad to Krishna. So when we do that, even if we do all deity worship, Krishna is not satisfied with that. So these are some of the reasons why. So I actually want to make a whole podcast episode on this subject. Why things happened, and we should. I'm not taking away anything from the fact that those invaders have come and ruined. Yes, certainly that is bad. It's not just a one-sided story though. The other side nobody's talking about, and if we don't talk about it, we will never learn from our mistakes. And the whole Hindu community, so-called nowadays, getting very you know, um, fired up about thing, and they're just getting fired up about all the external symbolism without actually understanding the religious scriptures that underpin this entire culture. They don't care to study those scriptures. So we need to bring that back. Otherwise, there's no hope. Just because somebody is campaigning against us, we will just come together and have a unified, loose coalition of unified force to fight against them. That's never should be the aim of our our Sanatana Dharma. We have to actually strengthen it from inside. The actual problem is inside. We don't know anything. There was this institution. The recently, like last year or something, there was this movie which came out, Kerala Files. I think that the Kerala story, where Muslims are, converting Hindus and making those girls as sex slaves in the Middle East for the jihadis and all that. Now, after the movie came out, there were some podcasts in Indian podcast channels, one of the top podcast channels. So, an interview was done of one of the activists, Hindu activists, not actual activists. I mean, I forgot the name of their organization, Astha something. Okay, they reconvert people back to Hinduism, or those who have converted to other this thing, they convert them back to Hinduism, it seems. And to date, they have converted about 7,000 people back to Hinduism who were converted to other religions before, Christianity or Islam. And this is their selling point. Now, okay, I was okay. I just went and saw in their YouTube channel the first introductory video, and the most horrible presentation of our Sanatana Dharma. Even Muslims do not do as bad as this. She said, our Hindu Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, is based on the Shruti Vakya, Upanishads. The Puranas, they are ridiculous. Don't even touch them. They are worst. We should only read the Upanishads. Then only we will get the actual the Puranas. Just leave them alone. You don't even touch them. It's ridiculous books. That's how she presented. I got so angry. I wanted to do a video. I did not do a video. So in this podcast that I'm going to start in April, these things one by one, all these I will cover in these episodes. So it is not going to be based on like reading of a particular verse, but actually the application of this knowledge and addressing the things that are happening in the world and addressing them through the lens of our scriptures. So that is the whole plot for this podcast. So please bless me that I would be able to do this. do justice to this project. So, okay, let's read on. Um, you see how shameless it is. Sir, you are the ruler of this town, whether Hindu or Muslim, everyone is under your protection. Therefore, please call Nimai Pandit and make him leave the town. Purport. The word Thakur has two meanings. One meaning is God or a godly person, and another meaning is Kshatriya. Here, the Pashandi Brahmanas address the Kazi as Thakur, considering him the ruler of the town. There are different names by which to address the members of different castes. The Brahmanas are addressed as Maharaj, and Kshatriyas as Thakur, the Vaishyas as Sheth or Mahajan, and the Sudras as Chaudhary. This etiquette is still followed in Northern India, where the Kshatriyas are addressed as Thakur Sahab. The Pashandis went so far as to request the magistrate or Kazi to have Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expelled from the town because of his introducing Harinam Sankirtan. Fortunately, our Hare Krishna movement all over the world, especially in the civilized world of Europe and America, has become very popular. Generally, no one complains against us to have us removed from a city. Although such an attempt was indeed made in Melbourne, Australia, the attempt failed. Thus, we are now introducing this Hare Krishna movement in great cities of the world like New York, London, Paris, Tokyo, Sydney, Melbourne, and Auckland. And by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything is going on nicely. People are happy to accept the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and the result is most satisfactory. তবে আমি প্রীতিবাক্য কহিল সবারে সবে ঘরে যাহা আমি নিষেধিব তারে. After hearing their complaints in sweet words, I told them, please go back home. I shall certainly prohibit Nimai Pandit from continuing his Hare Krishna movement. Hindur Ishvara Bada Jai Narayan. Hindur Ishvara Bada Jai Narayan. Say tumi hao heno loy moraman. I know that Narayan is the supreme god of the Hindus, and I think that you are the same Narayan. This I feel within my mind. So this is how the Chand Kazi recognized that this is Narayan, and the rascal Pashandi Brahmanas did not recognize him as Narayan. They went and offended him. এট শুনি মহাপ্রভু হাসিয়া হাসিয়া কহিতে লাগিলা কিছু কাজিরে ছুঁইয়া. After hearing the Kazi speak so nicely, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him and smilingly spoke as follows. তোমার মুখে কৃষ্ণ নাম এ বড় বিচিত্র পাপক্ষয় গেল হইলা পরম পবিত্র. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna from your mouth has performed a wonder. It has nullified the reactions of all your sinful activities. Now you have become supremely pure. You see the difference between this chanting and the Hindu Pashandis chanting. They are also all whole life they are chanting Narayan, Krishna, Rama, Hari, and all this. Why their chanting is not as powerful, but this Muslim has chanted this 3 times, and then his name is already. I mean, he's already so this thing. Because he is chanting in a favorable mood. He accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Narayan, and the way he said Narayan is in acceptance of the supremacy of the Lord and the one Lord. And it's much more favorable than the perfunctory acceptance of the word Narayan, of the name Narayan, by the Brahmanas, the Pashandi Brahmanas. It's just namesake acceptance, but actually they are offending Narayan. So what is the point? I mean, how will they even get benefited from that? So, purport. Confirming the potency of the Sankirtan movement. See, unlike the Pashandi Brahmanas, they said the potency will be lost. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, you have become so potent now. You have become Param Pavitra. So you have become supremely pure now by just chanting the holy name of Krishna. He directly defeated the so-called rascal Pashandi statement that, oh, the holy name will become important. You have become now potent, Chandkazi, he's saying. Confirming the potency of the Sankirtan movement, these words from the very mouth of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu express how people can be purified simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. The Kazi was a Muslim lecha or meat eater, but because he several times uttered the holy name of Lord Krishna, Automatically, the reactions of his sinful life were vanquished and he was fully purified of all material contamination. We do not know why the Pashandis of the present day protest that we are deteriorating the Hindu religion by spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world and claiming all classes of men to the highest standard of Vaishnavism. But these rascals disagree with us so vehemently that some of them do not allow European and American Vaishnavas to enter the temples of Vishnu. Prabhupada is calling them rascals. Thinking religion to be meant for material benefit, these so called Hindus have actually become vicious by worshipping the numerous forms of the demigods. In the next verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms the Kazi's purification. So, see, अतो मां सुदुराराध्यं हित्वान्यान् भजते जनः ततस्त आशुतोषेभ्यो लब्धराज्य श्रियोद्धताः मत्ताः प्रमत्ता वरदान् विस्मयन्त्यवजानते. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:88-11. Because I am difficult to worship, Krishna is speaking this, by the way. Because I am difficult to worship, people generally avoid me and instead worship other deities who are quickly satisfied. When people receive kingly opulences from these deities, they become arrogant, intoxicated with pride, and neglectful of their duties. They dare to offend even the demigods who have bestowed benedictions upon them. Hmm. And what is the other verse? Where they persecute the Vaishnavas, they mock the devotees of Achyuta, right? 11.5.7. Due to the influence, okay, let's read the रजसा घोर संकल्पाः कामुका अहिमन्यवः दाम्भिकामानिनः पापा विहसन्त्यच्युत प्रियान्. Due to the influence of the mode of passion, the materialistic followers of the Vedas become subject to violent desires and are excessively lusty. Their anger is like that of a snake, deceitful, overly proud, and sinful in their behavior. They mock the devotees who are dear to Lord Achyuta. Perfect description of these rascals, these Pashandis who were trying to expel Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the town of Nadia. See, they become actually vicious by worshipping the numerous forms of the demigod. This is what happens. So, Hari Krishna Narayana loile tina naam, bada bhagyavan tumhe bada punyavan. See, this guy killed cows and everything, all what he assassinated his own. Oh, that was Nawab Hussain Shah, is it? Yeah, that was Nawab Hussain Shah who assassinated his master. Okay, this Chankaz, I don't think he did anything like that. But anyway, he was definitely eating cows. But then you see, because you have chanted three holy names of the Lord, Hari Krishna Narayan, you are undoubtedly the most fortunate and pious. So now it begs us to question what is the how to say prerequisite for purification. I mean, on one side there are the Brahmanas who have only eaten vegetarian food and chanted all the mantras of the Vedas and nothing else but that. And on the other side, there is this, absolute mlecha, cow eater and everything, and he has become purified by just three chants of the name. And their whole lifetime of chanting of the name of Narayan, still they're not purified. What is going on? So again, the same thing. I can't just do offenses and then continue. Krishna is not satisfied with such thing. Whereas in the case of Kazi, he actually took to the purification process and he became immediately purified. He was favorable to the process. So this is the thing. Purport. Here, the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms that anyone who chants the holy names Hari, Krishna, and Narayan without offense is certainly extremely fortunate. And whether Indian or non-Indian, Hindu or non-Hindu, he immediately comes to the level of the most pious personality. We therefore do not care about the statements of Pashandis who protest against our movements, making the members of other cities or countries into Vaishnavas. We have to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, executing our mission peacefully, or if necessary, kicking the heads of such protesters. kicking the heads of such protesters. এটা শুনি কাজের দুই চক্ষে পড়ে পানি, প্রভুর চরণে ছুঁই বলে প্রিয় বাণী. After the Kazi heard this, tears flowed down from his eyes. He immediately touched the lotus feet of the Lord and spoke the following sweet words. তোমার প্রসাদে মোর ঘুচিল কুমতি, এই কৃপা করো যেন তোমাতে রহু ভক্তি. Only by your mercy have my bad intentions vanished. Kindly favor me so that my devotion may always be fixed upon you. प्रभु कोहे एक दान मागिए তোমায়, संकीर्तन वाद जयছে নহে নদিয়ায়. The Lord said, I wish to beg you for one favor in charity. You must pledge that this Sankirtan movement will not be checked, at least in the district of Nadia. Kaji kohe मोर वंशे যত উপজীবে, তাহাকে তালাক দিব কীর্তন না বাধিবে. Talak dibo. Grave admonition. The Kazi said, to as many descendants as take birth in my dynasty in the future, I give this grave admonition. No one should check the Sankirtan movement. Purport. As a result of this grave injunction by the Kazi, even at present, the descendants of the Kazi's family do not oppose the Sankirtan movement under any circumstances. Even during the great Hindu-Muslim riots in neighboring places, the descendants of the Kazi honestly preserved the assurance given by their forefather. Interesting, right? It's a very interesting story. শুনি প্রভু হরি বলি উঠিলা আপনি, উঠিল বৈষ্ণব সব করি হরি ধ্বনি. Hearing this, the Lord got up chanting Hari Hari. Following him, all other Vaishnavas also got up chanting the vibration of the holy name. কীর্তন করিতে প্রভু করিল আগমন, সঙ্গে চলি আইসে কাজী উল্লসিত মন. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went back to perform kirtan, and the Kazi with his mind jubilant went with him. কাজিরে বিদায় দিল সচিরানন্দন, নাচিতে নাচিতে আইলা আপন ভবন. The Lord asked the Kazi to go back home. Then the son of Mother Sachi came back to his own home, dancing and dancing. এই মতে কাজিরে প্রভু করিলা প্রসাদ, এই মতে কাজিরে প্রভু করিলা প্রসাদ, ইহা যে শুনে তার খণ্ডে অপরাধ. This is the incident concerning the Kazi and the Lord's mercy upon him. Anyone who hears this is also freed from all offenses. So, thus ends the story of the deliverance of Chand Kazi. We have successfully read 106 verses today. So, any questions or comments, we'll go through. Keshav Kumar is asking, I have a serious question. Why do people belong to ISKCON often use the word rascal? Why is this? It doesn't seem very saintly or mature. Well, then you have to blame Krishna for that, because he uses the word. He uses far greater words than this. Okay, rascal is kind of very lightweight compared to what he uses. Okay, first he uses mudha. Mudha means fool. Vimudha means rascal, fool, all these words. And again, he uses even words, naradham. I'll show you. We're just repeating Krishna's words. We're not inventing anything. You see here? Namam dushkritino moodhaah prapadyante naradhamaah mayaya apaharita jnanaah asuram bhavamashritah. You see how Krishna is using the word? Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Okay, not finished. Let's see what the Bhagavatam says. श्वविड्वराहोष्ट्रखरैः संस्तुतः पुरुषः पशुः न यत्कर्णपथोपेतो जातु नाम गदाग्रजः. 2-3-19. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. I think Rascal is better than this. We are being kind. This is Bhagavatam, my dear sir. There are more. Frog, snake, so many comparisons are there to people who are non-devotees. Okay. And even those who go to places of pilgrimage and go to temples, they are also classified in a very nice way here. Krishna himself is saying this, not anyone. You see what he says. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke swadhi kalatradisu bhauma ijjadhihi yat tirtha buddhi salilena kareche janeshvabhigneshu sa eva gokharaha. What is that? One who identifies as self. So, tridhatu. So, if I think I am this body, okay, number one. And if I think my family members are my own family, if anybody thinks like that, and if anybody thinks that stone is worshipable, we're not talking about deities were actually properly installed out of devotion. Any stone, or if they think that the Lord's worship is limited to just a stone, and other places is not Lord's worship. So this is, and one who worships the land of his birth, Bhauma Ijjadhi, who worships his land of birth. Patriotism is so highly, glorified in India. If one is so passionate about, the motherland, the country of his birth, or who sees a place of pilgrimage, who actually goes to pilgrimage and takes Ganga Snan, Yamuna Snan, and then comes back, but he doesn't associate with sadhus, does not learn about the dharma. If he's just going like this, then such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. Lucky we are not calling people ass, them, or dogs or hogs. We're not calling them. We're just saying rascal. You're still at least human being, given the respect of a human being. So, we are not having any hatred towards it. But this is what Krishna said. We may not like it, but Krishna is calling us rascal. And if we don't listen to him, we are rascal. Why we should create a smoke screen or some euphemism around it and make it sound nicer? No. If we are not doing the right thing, then we should know that we are as good as animals. Because ahara nidra bhayamaithunam cha samanyam pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhir samana. Dharmena hina pashubhir samana. So if there is no dharma, he is an animal. Dvipada pashu. Why should we not call as it is? Calling a spade is not some immature word or some emotional rant. No, it's it's based off on Shastra. I'm quoting you so many. I can quote you hundreds more of these verses. Okay. So get used to it. You become a devotee, and then it will sink in that yes, actually, anybody who doesn't come to this is a rascal. Soche tato vimukha chetasa and we say this not out of hatred for them. We say this out of compassion for them. We understand that they're rascal and we want to change them. We don't want them to remain as rascals. You see, Prahlad Maharaj, who is such a great devotee, right? Such a great devotee who tolerated his father's so many atrocities. You see what he says. You see. नैवोद्विजे परदुरत्ययवैतरण्यास्त्वद्वीर्यगायनमहामृतमग्नचित्तः शोचे ततो विमुखचेतस इन्द्रियार्थ माया सुखाय भरमुद्वहतो vimudhan. Vimudhan. You see the last word? Vimudhan. Not just mudhan, vimudhan. What is that? Oh, best of the great personalities. He's talking to Narsimadev, Prahlad Maharaj. I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them. I love them so much that sometimes father calls the son as rascal. He loves his son. That's why he calls him, because he wants the son to become all right. So anyway, so same in similar way, this Prahlad Maharaj, I am concerned for these rascals who are making elaborate plans and remaining in this material world, suffering and suffering and suffering, and all because of their disobedience to Krishna. I want to save them. I can't see them suffering like this. I can't see them remaining as rascals. In order to wake them up, some strong language is required. And that's why he calls them rascals. And Krishna calls us rascals. So that if we all sweet talking, if he just sweet talks to us, we will not wake up. Hey, why is Krishna using rascal word? Or why are these devotees using rascal word so much? Yes, we are rascals. Rascal is a lightweight word for the nonsense that we have done for trillions of years. Trillions of lifetimes we have gone against him. Rascal is an award. It's like a great prize. After all that, we're only called rascals. That's an understatement. We have been the worst, vicious. I mean, everything falls short. Every profanity that exists in the universe falls short of what we actually are for what we have done. But Krishna is willing to excuse all of that and say just mildly rascal, hey, you Vimudha, please wake up and come to me and enjoy life. That's what Krishna is saying. You see? Oh, what is this? Mukundamala. Oh, this is okay. Ah. तेषाम् आत्माभिमानिनां Varakānām anāśritya Govinda charanadvayam. Varakānām means fool, rascal. Again, I wanted to show that. What? Yeah, I think it passed already. Anyway. असीतिं चतुरश्चैव लक्षांस्तान् जीवजातिषु भ्रमद्भिर्पुरुषं प्राप्यं मानुष्यं जन्म पर्ययात् तदप्यफलतो जातः तेषाम् आत्माभिमानिनां वराकाणाम् अनाश्रित्य गोविन्दचरणद्वयम्. These are the verses. Very, very important verses. Prabhupada said we should memorize them. 3 times he repeats in that class. Somehow I missed it that one. But so he's saying in that verse, what is said there? 8.4 million species. Asitim chaturashchaiva laksham stan jiva jatishu. Brahmadbhir purusham prapyam manusham janma pariyat. After going through 8.4 million species of life, we get human life. And tadapi abhalatam jataha. Tesham atmabhimanina. Even after getting such a rare opportunity of human life, they get filled with pride and do not chant the holy name of Krishna, do not surrender to Krishna. Varakanam, such people are Varakanam. Okay, actually, that is the word I should search for, not Varaka. Varakanam. Anashritya. You see this one? This is the word. अशीतिं चतुरश्चैव लक्षांस्तान् जीवजातिषु भ्रमद्भिः पुरुषैः प्राप्यं मानुष्यं जन्म पर्ययात् तदप्यफलताम् afalatam, not afalatam. Afala means our life has become fruitless even after achieving this rare human form of life, because tesham atma abhimaninam, self, too much pride, Varakanam means rascals, fools. Anashritya Govinda Charanadvaya. So they don't anashritya, they don't take shelter of the Govinda Charanadvaya, the two lotus feet of Govinda. Varakanam. Such people are Varakanam. So all these words are there. How many you want? Okay, so if you don't like this word rascal, then the best thing you should do is not to be a rascal anymore and become a devotee. Chanakya Pandit says that if an honest person deals with a great cheater, it is necessary for him to become a cheater also, not for the purposes of cheating, but to make his preaching successful. Sometimes, these things are, one has to be tactful in what is one is doing. The United Nations, what they're doing for the last 20 years, simply creating problems. So without Krishna consciousness, there's no question of solving problems. That's a fact. So this is room conversation. 20 years, now it's 70 years. Nothing has changed. In fact, if anything, they are promoting more wars now in the name of peace. They're not condemning any wars at all. In Amarnath, Muslims are still worshipping. Okay. And even in Rath Yatra, so many Muslims come and attend Rath Yatra ceremony. Then why is photography banned in some Hindu temples? Is there any bona fide reason? If they have photo of the deity, then nobody will come to the temple. Everybody will have the photo of the deity and sit at home. So they want money. So they block. You know, we should not equate Hindu demigods to Lord Krishna. Then what about Muslim God Allah, Christian God Jesus, or Jehovah is equal to Krishna? So this is a wrong framework to think from. They say you should accept the one supreme God, and they call him Allah, and they call him Christ and Jehovah or something. So when you say one supreme God, that one supreme God has to be the same one supreme God. Otherwise, there's not like Muslim one supreme God, Christian one supreme God, Hindu one supreme God. No, it's one supreme God. When you refer to him as that one supreme God, that can only mean Krishna. They may call it Allah. So same name, same person, but different names. But when you say that a man is equal to, Krishna, or even a demigod equal to Krishna, like even the angels in their religions, the angels, they never equate them to the Supreme Lord. Who are the angels? The demigods. So the demigods are never equal to Supreme, and we are also never equal to the Supreme. Okay, so when they mentioned one Supreme God and no one else, that is a fact. That is a fact. Why we should become angry with that, or nowadays Hindutvavadis, they are getting very angry. Oh, they are proclaiming that their God is the only God and every other God is not. Very, very stupid way of looking at it. Yeah, maybe they may even do that, those who are doing it, but we should bring the right meaning to that. Not that, oh, no, you are saying this but they are not meaning what you are saying. Fine, then we'll teach them what is the actual truth. This is the truth. Okay, so that's how we have to approach it. Not that, oh, because they are not meaning what you're saying, they are meaning that only their Allah is God and all your this thing is not God. Yeah, maybe they will mean like that, but we have to show them what is the actual truth. We are also worshipping that one supreme God. That is, we call him Krishna and he has unlimited names. Why not? His name is Allah. Why not? Allah means what? Allah means the Almighty. Yeah, he is Almighty. We accept that. One of the six opulences of God is might, strength, Viryasya, Yasasasya. So yeah, we accept that is a bona fide name of God. But Krishna is the complete name of God, where all six opulences are, how to say, um, all six opulences are inside that name. Okay, whereas almighty means it's might, one of the six opulences. There is Aishwarya, is wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So Krishna means all attractive, because anybody who has these opulences is attractive. Even one of these opulences, even to a small degree, he becomes attractive. So he has all these in unlimited degree, and therefore his name is Krishna. So your name is a bona fide name, and ours is also bona fide name, and this is a complete name. It includes everything, Krishna. So in that way, we have to approach this. Not that, oh, you are thinking, oh, this is Muslim god, Christian god, Hindu god. No, it's not like Krishna never used that word. Um, I am sarva yonishu kaunteya aham bija pradhapita. Of all species of life, not only of all religions, all species of life, I am the father. Krishna says. That's how we should look at it from that framework, not the framework that people have built in their own way. We have to see the right framework, and not only we should see the right framework, we should give that framework to everyone and make them also see the right through the right framework. Enlighten the others, even our own religion people and other religion people, everybody, enlighten everybody. Then there will be harmony properly. Is Allah and Jesus are equal to the level of our Hindu demigods, or they're equal to Krishna? Jesus is son of God. He is like Acharya, and Prophet Muhammad is also Acharya. Allah is the Supreme Lord name. So that is Krishna. And then Jesus and Allah are just messengers in our religion. They're still great messengers like Rama Devatas, Mantralayam, Raghavendra Swami, Lord Hanuman, etc. etc. Okay, get it straight. I already mentioned all this. Okay, if Allah is equal to Krishna, why they are eating meat? Cow praying at west side, how? You see, Prabhupada explained in this way. First of all, as I already mentioned earlier in this lecture, I don't know whether you were there, that in their own scriptures, Kazi himself also admitted that in the Nivritti Marga, it's not a compulsion that you must eat meat. It's not. In fact, it is actually prohibited indirectly. But they eat because you can eat meat without blood. Which meat will have no blood? That's why they try to drain the animal by slitting the throat upside down, thinking that all blood will come out. It will not come out. You actually cannot eat any meat. Okay. Next, even if they have different rules, it's like this. Following traffic rules is the principle, so that traffic will go. But some countries will have left and some countries will have right driving. That does not mean, oh, how come? Well, the principle is the same. Details may be slightly here and there different according to time, place, and circumstances. Well, in our Vedic culture, there is allowance of meat eating, goats. For those who cannot control their tongue, very tamasic people, they can eat once in a month or Amavasya day after offering to Kali deity. So then they can eat. In our Dharma also there is meat eating. So, but this is for those people because of that kind of caliber, they cannot be higher than that. So that kind of tamasic people, those kinds of rules are there so that at least don't eat every day, eat once a month. So restrict your meat eating. So similarly, there are certain rules like that, maybe differing here and there. Ultimate principle is not changed. That we have to become always chanting the name of God, always praying to Him. That's not changed in any religion. But ours is very refined. That we have to say, because nowhere else you can find this level of knowledge of God. Nowhere else. Of course, this is also nothing compared to what is available in the demigods planets. But on Earth, nothing that comes remotely close to our Vedas. I don't accept Allah equal to Krishna or demigods like Shiva Brahma. Up to you. You don't understand. You first you start reading our books. Okay. You just simply argue like that. You're not going to benefit, and you're going to benefit no one also. So you can do whatever you want. Of course, you can do as you please, but this is the reality. All right, I'll stop it here. Thank you very much. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Um, Chand Kazi Samadhi actually is there in the Mayapur. You can go and see when you go there. There's a tree there. You can see even now. You can go there and see. So he became a great devotee actually. So thank you very much. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Chand Kazi ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्ण।